Alright, welcome back to Don't Think, Just Charge. I'm Dave, he's Harvey, and today we're going over the space lizards. It's the Saurian Starhost. The Saurian Starhost, a unique faction to one-page rules that you don't see in other major tabletop war games, and one that we both freaking love. Lizards in space with guns. Sign us up 100% of the way. We're going to be going through them today, doing our usual sorts of unit-by-unit review, and then at the end we'll give you a couple of army lists to take home. Now, the Saurian Starhost have a whole host of special rules. The main one that we're going to be focusing on is the one that appears on most of their units. It is Predator, which is for each unmodified roll of a 6 to hit when attacking, this model may roll +1 attack with that weapon, and it doesn't roll over. So this is like Furious, like Shooty, but a lighter version of it. You don't just get an automatic hit, you get +1 attack, and that's going to be relevant when we come on to looking at everything. It means that the units are really nicely costed. It is importantly something that applies both when shooting and in melee. It's so versatile, it's brilliant. Let's go ahead and have a talk through the spells before we come on to how Predator is applied. Now, Harvey, we both quite like the Saurian Starhost spell list. Talk me through your thoughts on the spell list for the Saurian Starhost for the Space Lizards, or the Space Lizard Wizards as it is at this point.
We'll come on to that later. Yeah, so for a start, we see two sets of 6 hits within 12 inches, and immediately we're pretty happy, right? You know, OPR is one of those games where you activate and you want to neutralize your opponent's activations, and the more units you can affect in one activation, the more you can kind of snowball the game. And this is great at picking off lots of kind of smaller annoying units, any of the 5-stack units that might be lower on the defense scale. Yeah, just such a great spell. Can never really go wrong with it. Sure, it's got no AP on it, but to be honest, just like throwing hits at everything does eventually break through. Yeah.
You mentioned it in our last video for the Alien Hives. Go check it out. It's that concept of hits with AP is good, but ultimately just a ton of hits is one of the best ways of getting damage through. It applies to everything, and law of averages, just the sheer weight of dice, getting 6 hits onto 2 units. On average, your opponent with 6 hits is going to roll a single 1, so you're probably going to get 1 hit damage through, regardless of what their defense is, and then of course the rest of the whole plethora of things takes effect. And then, yeah, as you say, this lets you warp the usual confines of OPR. Usually 1 unit attacks 1 unit, 1 unit charges 1 unit, 1 unit shoots 1, sometimes 2 units. With this, your spell is hitting 2 units. That is 2 possible morale checks that you can bust out there, plus whatever you're doing with your attacks. Great spell.
Yeah.
So the next one down, Transcend. 3 friendly units within 12 inches get regeneration next time they take wounds. We saw this when we spoke about the Alien Hives last week.
Yep. I think it's still good. It's especially good here. We'll see in a second. Frog-Mages get access to Caster 4. So it's really essential that they have a way of spending their tokens on something useful. And luckily this spell list completely allows them to do that, right? The 3 targets getting regen is a really nice buff to throw out on round 1. You kind of like know what you're coming into round 2 because of that. But yeah, I mean, like early game regen is really great, and late game it's maybe slightly worse. So yeah, it's good to get these kind of buffs out early on, especially if you are playing like a heavy wound stacking things. If you're playing with the monsters and stuff, they really like the regeneration there.
Yeah, they do.
So yeah.
This is a situation, I think, as well, where, to give the contrast, on Alien Hives we weren't so hot on it. This was one of the better spells, but really we just weren't persuaded by the spell list. The level 3 damage spell combined with this, combined with Frog-Mages getting access to Caster 4, it paints a very different picture in the context of the Saurian Starhost army and its spellcasters to what we see with Alien Hives. So same spell, bit of a different analysis because of the context. Down to the level 2 spells. The damage spell for level 2, Jaguar Pounce. Target enemy model within 12 inches takes 2 hits with AP 4. Yeah, really. I mean, we're not aiming this at a hero with tough 3. We're aiming this at ideally, a single wound upgrade like a combat medic.
Yeah, Yeah, so the primary target of this is definitely upgrade stuff, but it does also function as a couple of extra hits on an APC or one of the kind of tough 6 things, right? You can whittle things away with this. And normally I wouldn't be a massive fan of this spell, but this is such an aggressive spell list. It's actually kind of nice to see even more aggressive spells in it. If this was a deadly spell, we'd be really happy here.
Yeah,
right?
we
If
would
saw,
actually,
like AP2, Deadly 3 or whatever, right? Because it would really nicely complement Piranha Swarm and Serpent Egg, which we'll get onto later.
Yeah.
As it stands, it's not quite as good as that, but I think it's still worthwhile having because I think it gives you AP in the spell list where you wouldn't otherwise have it. And sometimes all you really need to do is kill one model, right? Sometimes there is just one model kicking around and that those AP hits, and maybe it's an APC or something like that, can just do that. And because you've got caster 4s, you're going to have a lot of tokens kicking around, right? Especially if you go heavy on the spell casting. So it's very easy for you to go like Piranha Swarm, Jaguar Pounce, Serpent Egg all in one turn and have the spells to pump all that stuff up still. Have all the tokens from other spellcasters to pump that. So yeah, it's slightly better here. It's still not our favorite spell to see at the level 2, but I think we can be pretty happy with it in the context of the spell list.
Yeah, we like the other damage spells at the other levels that we get in this spell list. So seeing that and seeing it as not the best is still fine. It's just not the best. It's not that kind of British. It's not the best. No, it's just not the actual best. That's where we are here. We're still quite happy with it. Brilliant. So the utility spell at level 2 is Energy Reservoir. Target 2 friendly units within 12 inches. Move +2 and +4 the next time they advance brush charge. They gain fast. Let's continue the contrast here. Last week for the Alien Hives, we saw flying at the level 2 spell. What do you think about seeing a fast spell at the level 2 slot for the Saurian Starhost?
I'm still not a massive fan of the spell. I still don't like that it requires a bit of pre-prep. I think that because like, what are your casters in this list? We'll get onto it in a bit, but it's geckos and Frog-Mages.
Mm-hmm.
And so the chance of them being embedded in a unit that wants to use this is kind of on lower down. You could go like big scary Frog-Mage with Guardians and give them fast like this. But I think really the place where you're using this is probably throwing this on the already fast units to give them even more threat range. So stuff like Raptor Riders. And you could do that very early on, right? Like sometimes this stuff is okay because let's say round 1, your opponent's moved 6 inches up the board and does some shooting. You can then suddenly go like, okay, Energy Reservoir, if I get it off, then I actually get this round 1 charge that I wouldn't have done before. But it's only ever good reactively like that, right? It's never really good proactively because your opponent sees what you've just buffed and sees what you want to charge. And so they could react in a way that would stop that from happening. So not as good as the debuff ones, but I think it's okay. Once again, like if you're going heavy spell casting, then basically every spell gains a little bit of extra because it's like, well, I'm going to be throwing out loads of spells per turn. So it's actually quite nice just having like all this choice. When you see like, when you're going like caster 3 in some lists and they have like a level 3 spell that you just want to be spamming, then the rest of the spells you don't really care about them. You kind of want them to be worse to make your caster cheaper. But in the context of having caster 4, where you're going to have loads of tokens, you actually kind of like to see stuff like this because you're like, well, I actually quite like something that maybe I can throw out after I just thrown out a Jaguar Pounce or my Serpent Egg or wherever I'm doing, right? Like just like little bit of extra points that I can spend in more interesting ways than just damage because it's not always applicable.
Yeah, it's nice to have that versatility, but in terms of what we're looking for, those non-damage spells, it's just not, again, it's not the best, but it's fine.
Yeah.
It lets you set up some cute plays, but really it can turn out more often than not, I think, to have these movement spells just be win more. You're already in a good position. Oh, I've got either a bit more reach or I've got a sudden extra charge target that is now just cherry on the cake situation here. The level 1 spells, fantastic through and through. First up, we've got Serpent Egg. Target enemy unit within 12 inches takes 4 hits. Below that 5-hit threshold breakpoint that we spoke about last week, but on a level 1 spell, it's nice to see.
This is really nice to see. So this is the baby version of the 12-hit spell. And the 12-hit spell is good. So this is good as well. It's kind of interesting, like obviously it's got no AP in it, but 4 hits is a pretty decent chance just to wound stuff in general.
Yeah.
Like if you throw this out just end of the turn on a 4-up and you kill even like one of their battle brothers, you're probably actually quite happy.
Yeah.
Because, you're just like throwing spells out trying to get some damage done. And those individual models are worth quite a lot. So, and then if your opponent's got much squishier things, say they've got a stack of zombies or something, then actually just kill 4 models there, right? Like just like having the raw maximum number of hits is really great because on low defense, it's basically like 1 hit equals 1 kill. Yeah. So yeah, it can be a massive swing against spam armies.
Spell, all of the just maximum damage spells are a really interesting thing to look at when you consider Balval, which we've spoken about before. Go have a look at Army Forge Studio and the calculator there. But if you saw a unit that said, I don't know what, we'll have a look at the cost of Caster 2 in a moment, but say it's 40 points, you instead get a 12-inch gun, quality 3+, that does 4 hits. So if you're I'm comparing this to being Caster 2 and only having access to this spell, right? You've got a 12-inch gun, quality 3+, 4 hits, AP nothing. That's a really good gun. This is outside of that because you're not targeting the same unit. You can target a unit that you're not shooting at. You can target a third unit if it's a shooting unit, plus having access to other spells. It's just good, clean damage amp up. And that's just considering this at a level 1 spell. Think about the rest of it. It's a great spell casting list to have.
It gets even more mad when you consider much higher level spells in this list.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, you have access to that 4-hit gun, and then you have access to your other guns as well. And on top of that, you can make the decision about what you're going to do after you've done this, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Normally the shooting all happens at the same time. You declare your target, you roll your dice. But this, you go like, okay, I'm going to put my 4 hits there, test the waters, go, okay, now I'm going to decide that this round I'm doing a charge, or now I'm going to decide I'm doing this round I'm doing a dash, or whatever. So yeah, really, really nice to have just such strong amounts of hits and spells.
It's good. And then finally, last but nowhere near least, we have Scrutiny. Target enemy unit within 18 inches gets -1 to hit rolls the next time it fights in melee. Just, you can hose some incredible charges with this. -1 to hit is a really powerful effect. It's decent. You like stealth. You like stealth more than I do, but you like stealth. Stealth is -1 to hit with 2 conditions. Over 9 inches away and shooting. This has got the condition of fights in melee, but you are choosing where to cast this, so that condition is somewhat mitigated. It's an 18-inch range choice, and you're picking the enemy unit rather than you're putting a defensive unit in the way. You're saying your unit of Soul Snatchers. Worse, your Carnivore Rex is -1 to hit. If you take a quality 4 unit down to quality 5, the reduction is a 33% reduction in hits, reduction in output. What an amazing level 1 spell.
Yeah, really great. This is a great spell to see when you are playing a strategy like I might play, where you just ignore the big things. You don't have the firepower to kill them. You don't want to bother trying to put firepower into them. You're just trying to kill everything else in their list. Well, if you're running out of decent targets for your, Piranha Worms and Serpent Eggs, and you got a couple of tokens left over, yeah, like exactly Carnivore Rex is a perfect example of a thing that gets absolutely shafted by this. There are so many quality 4 walkers in this game.
Yeah.
Right? Like literally 300-point units, 400-point units, quality 4. You whack this on them, and all of a sudden they go from like world destroyers to, they make a charge and maybe they hit like 2 hits, right? And then you just do the same thing next turn, and right, like it's so hard to get the value from that walker all of a sudden. Also, they're going to win combat anyway because of fear, but
yeah, I was going to say,
you're going to keep models on the board,
exactly,
which is important.
There's also the point that because of the hybrid tax conversation and because of the way OPR is designed, it is a case that melee units, pure melee units, are more efficient. They don't have additional guns, they don't have additional utility, but they have the benefit of being able to not think and just charge, and charge towards objectives, which is where you want to be. Charge into your opponent, put pressure on. Melee is one of the best, most efficient ways of doing that. And if you're just hosing melee down like this, then it is so good. I think it's very rare that you'll see an army that just doesn't do melee at all. So this is such a good spell to have.
Yeah, and because it's a spell, if you do come across an army that doesn't do melee, it didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
You're down 1 spell, sure, right? Okay, but all of a sudden maybe move speed's got a lot more value if they're running all ranged, right? Or you just use literally any of your other spells, use those tokens somewhere else.
If they're all ranged, yeah, exactly. That's when your ability to buff your units to be fast is probably going to be more valuable, so you can win a movement game there. With the impending rework and the removal of army-wide poison and rending, then regeneration is going to be that little bit stronger in the wide concept of the game. And so, yeah, it's lovely spell list, A+ for the Saurians, and we're going to in a moment go on to the heroes as we go through the list. Now, there's a couple of things to hit at this point. First of all, if you haven't subscribed, why not? Please go ahead, subscribe to the channel. Most importantly, drop a comment down below before you watch the rest of the video. What unit do you think is going to be our favourite? What unit do you think is going to be our least favourite in the Saurians list? It's a pretty tight list, and so I don't know if I've actually got an answer to that question right now anyway.
I think I do, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What's your choice for go and what's your choice for in the bin? There we are.
Yeah, that's a good one. Give us your bin emojis in chat.
Yeah.
Thirdly, even as it is, the upcoming army reworks. I've mentioned this already. I mentioned it in the Alien Hives video. It looks like, from what we've seen from Tano and Opia, the lizards aren't changing. The space lizards are going to be keeping Predator. They're going to be keeping a lot of, we presume, the impacts that they have right now. And so with that, again, like with the Alien Hives, we don't imagine our analysis of this army is going to change very much with the army rework coming out later this year. So fear not. I know you were thinking, you know what, I've finished making my cup of tea, I'm going to turn these guys off. Don't do it. Stick around. It's going to be relevant. Let's chomp down into the list. We're going to start out with the Frog-Mage, Captain Ribbit himself. 255 points, so quite a punchy points cost here. What does that get you? It gets you a tough 6 hero. Okay, we're at an interesting point here. Can be embedded still. Tough 6 is still a lot of wounds. Comes with Fear 1, which is, again, very relevant. It's got Strider, a nice perk. It is base Caster 3. No need to worry about those upgrades. On top of all of that, it is Quality 2, Defense 2. Really, you're using this guy's attacks too often, so it is less relevant. It's still very relevant, but less than completely. Mostly that's just an excellent quality for morale checks. And Defense 2 plus is beautiful anyway. Its attacks, you've got a 12-inch ranged attack with 3 attacks, AP nothing rending, just nice, lean and efficient. It's got 6 attacks in melee, and its upgrades, you can change its gun to either be bigger range, no rending, or an AP2 deadly 3-shot. And then you've got this lovely line. Don't you love to see upgrade with any? You can give it heavy shield, so AP -1, but only when all models in the unit get it. That's relevant when you're trying to put this into a unit of the Saurian Veterans. Not the Saurian Veterans, the dudes with shields. Saurian Guardians, thank you very much. This Supreme Mage Caster +1 for 20 points. That means at 270 points, you get a Defense 2, Tough 6, Caster 4. Amazing to have. And then, yes, the Saurian Guardians. Here you have it. This guy can embed himself into a unit of Saurian Guardians and use a 150-point upgrade, the Legendary Guard rule, changing all of the quality of the Saurian Guardians to quality 2+. I think we like the Frog-Mage. We've spoken about the Caster. The real thing is here, it's Caster Welly that you get out of a Caster 4, which is quite unique.
Yeah, so I mean, the things to write home about the Frog-Mage, obviously, Quality 2 Def 2 is really good. That's really hard to break. Interestingly enough, he doesn't have Fearless.
Interestingly, he doesn't have Fearless.
Yeah, it's almost like it's actually a good thing because...
It's a really good thing.
Yeah, like you're already on a 2-up, right? Like Fearless makes it, twice as likely to succeed, but also like, I don't think you really need it necessarily, especially with the strategy. With
go on, what you're going to say, embedding it, exactly.
Yeah. So
let's just quickly bring up Fearless on the Saurian Guardians, because he's got that elite rule for the Saurian Guardians. Fearless, folks, remember this, it's whenever a unit where most models have this rule. It's not like the Heavy Shield where everyone has to have it. If you stick the Frog-Mage in a unit, just a unit of Geckos, a unit of Saurian Warriors that have got Fearless.
Anything in the list.
Basically anything in the list, it gets the benefit of Fearless until there's one model from that unit and this guy left alive. But at that point, you're still rolling your morale on quality 2+.
Yeah. So I think the Frog-Mage is obviously very expensive because he's a 2/2. You see it in like the Demon list and stuff like that. Like their 2/2s are like 700 points and sure they're top 12. But yeah, they get really expensive really fast. Caster 4 is a nice thing to see as long as you've got things suspended on. One of the caveats about Caster 4 is you still can only have 6 tokens, which I think is a bit of a shame. I'd like to see it be up to 8 if you had Caster 4. I wouldn't be opposed to Caster just being able to hold twice as many tokens as it has. Just as like a little way of like making the higher end casters a bit more appealing, perhaps. Like Caster 4 sometimes feels like a waste because you go into round 1 and if you don't have anything to cast, then you go into round 2 and you get 6 tokens, which is the same amount you would have had if you were Caster 3. So Caster 4 feels a bit weird. But still, it's a nice thing to see, especially given the spell list, because you can buff move speed, you can buff regen.
Yeah.
Temple Guardian, the Legendary Guard, Saurian Guardians, unfortunately, this falls along the category of all these other style, like guard style buffs. It's just not very good.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very expensive. Unfortunately, it has to be costed for a double stacked unit of Saurian Guardians for this to be worthwhile. And even then, I mean, I'm not really sure you want to spend 150 points to basically give them +1 to hit, because they're already inheriting his quality for morale. So it's an extremely, I mean, you compare it to like Take Aim, 45 points, right? This is basically Take Aim, but less flexible. Yeah, like buffing quality is a bit of a numbo here. And you'll see this across all the guard style things, right? You don't actually want your quality buffed, you want your to hit buffed. Yeah. Because you're already getting the quality from this guy and he's the last person to die in the unit. So I don't know if that is included in the costing. I imagine it probably is. But yeah, it definitely should not be. Heavy shield is quite a nice thing to see here. Like, once again, it's supposed to be there for putting it in a unit of Saurian Guardians. So you do the heavy shield thing, you upgrade them all heavy shield and make them very durable. But what it also means is you can actually just run this guy as his own thing. If you wanted to, you could just spend the 15 points, don't even embed him, and have him hanging around the map. Because tough 6 with heavy shields and 2/2 is actually quite hard to shift.
Really,
the last thing to know about this guy is he does have 6 attacks, right? And I think that's so easy to underestimate. 6 attacks is a lot of attacks on a 2-up, and he has Fear 1. So he actually wins melee a surprising amount of time just off the back of those two.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
So like you add up all the things together and yeah, you get a very, very durable caster who's very expensive compared to other casters for sure, but very unlikely to leave the map early like other casters. I think the magic shock upgrade is nice. Just an extra 6 inches for 5 points. You do lose rending, but I think just like having like something you can poke far away with is good. And it kind of gives him this, once again, like he wants to be within 12 inches anyway, really, for things, but that doesn't mean that all your targets need to be within 12 inches. You can do a 6-inch move, shoot the really far away guys with this, which are probably going to hit 3 of them. And then you can do like a 4 hits on those guys and 2 sets of 6 hits on those guys. And you can really spread out a lot of damage with that little extra range buff. Alternatively, the magic beam is also nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we'll probably talk about it later a bit more in list building. But one thing this guy does really well is just being embedded in a unit of swarms. Yeah. Swarms are 6/6s, they're fearless, so they then become 2/6s because of the morale quality thing from heroes. And they have fearless still because you've got more swarms in this guy. So yes, you do lose all of the effectiveness of his defense until he's the last model alive. But for like 60 points, you gain an extra 9 wounds, which makes this all of a sudden a tough 15 caster. Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden you're starting, and then obviously he has fear, which helps their bad melee stats. He has heavy pulse, which is just melee attack. He's a decent melee combatant, so all of a sudden actually it's quite a scary unit to charge into because you might still lose combat. Mm-hmm. And you're probably going to pass some morale check with these. So yeah, we'll cover that later in the list building section. But yeah, just an interesting thing here, because really like the most thematic thing for him to join is Saurian Guardians, but the most practical thing for him to join is just some snake boys.
Yeah, some little slithery dudes.
Also, yeah, literally just having a chill time.
There's that whole aspect to consider in terms of ignoring your opponent's things, right? If you're in a unit of swarms, they're defense 6, you're ignoring your opponent's AP. If you're throwing out a round 1 transcend for regeneration and you throw that on your swarms go from just being a 6-up into a 6-up into a 5-up, neither of which can be modified by your opponent's things. Really surprisingly sticky. Yeah, so definitely don't underestimate that strategy just because they're swarms is really quite good. Lovely. So Frog-Mage off to a flying start. We love him. Let's go on to one of my favourites, the Gator Veteran. He is, in fact, I think 3 out of 4 of the heroes here are one of my favourites. The Frog-Mage is one of my favourites. The Gator Veteran is one of my favourites.
I actually love
the
them
Saurian
also.
Veteran.
Yeah, just full disclosure at this point in the video, I did play Warhammer Lizardman when I was 13. So it was my first baby. So literally anything to do with lizards I think is rad. So if I make things seem really good and then you go to play them on the tabletop and they're crap, that's my childhood talking and I'm really sorry.
Separately from someone who only ever got attacked by the lizards, these are also really cool and really good. And the day will come when I get myself an army of Saurians on the tabletop. And I am
it's like a constant conversation, right? It's like a year and a half now of us basically going like, "Ooh, we could do Saurians though. We could do Saurians though, you know? Just put a couple of Saurians where you can literally paint whatever color you want. They're great."
Exactly. It's always there in the mind, and this video is probably going to motivate me. I mean, when we did Elven Jesters, that got me so gassed up that I've got now an army of Elven Jesters for the event we're going to in 2 weeks' time, by the time this video comes out in 1 week's time. So yeah, I need to do some painting. Anyway, onto the Gator Veteran. Now, I love this guy because he's a big chonko. He does still have some of the criticisms that we level at, tough 6 models generally. Obviously, we've just spoken about the Frog-Mage and Shout It With Glory. The Gator Veteran is not that. And realistically, considering the other units in the army, we're not going to be bringing the Gator Veteran when we come onto a list building. That doesn't stop it from being super cool. 125 points gets you a tough 6 hero Gator big dude. He has got Fearless, he has got Fear 1, Quality 4, Defense 3 plus, and he has got that Predator rule. Also important, the Frog-Mage and the Geckos don't have Predator, but you don't care about that when you're bringing the rest of the army. He comes with 2 heavy maces, which are A1, AP1, Blast 3 attacks. He has 2 Stomp attacks with AP1. Now, quickly, whilst we've hit on it, let's say it once now before we have to say it for every other point in the army. Predator plus Blast 3 is awesome, because if you spike a 6 on that first attack with your Blast 3 attack, you get another bite of the cherry. This guy can potentially, on his base profile, put out, if you get 6s everywhere, which is, or all 6s into all 4s, right? If you call it that instead. What's the maths here? 6, 12, 14 hits? AP1 can come out of this guy?
Because the Stomp can also double.
16 hits? Oh my God, yeah.
Hit.
Stomp can also double. There we go. Quick maths has failed me for the first time. Damn. 16 hits. That is some juicy smacking. And all of that on 125 points. Now, that is spiking all your dice, but it's not unreasonable across the course of a game to see a few, maybe 1 or 2 of these Blast 3 hits spiking Predator. And remember, folks, when we're analysing our lists, we're considering it in the scope of what would you take at an event. It doesn't necessarily have to be a competitive tournament, but a day or 2 where you are playing a series of games, and so you're trying to have the most success. And over the course of a few games, you're going to see this happen, so it's quite exciting. Now, that's getting excited about Predator. This is our first time to talk about a rule which is kind of already in the design scope of OPR, where they're talking about this army rework, where you're going to have army rules and then army boosts. We've already got that here, and it's one of the reasons we love Saurians at the moment. You've got something that interacts with Predator. This is Primal Roar. It's a 10-point upgrade, which is so nicely costed. Once per this unit's activation, pick 2 friendly units within 12 inches with Predator, so that includes the Gator Veteran himself, which may roll its extra attacks on unmodified rolls of 5 to 6 from Predator, rather than just from 6. So suddenly, rather than 1 in 6 times you're getting your bonus here, 1 in 3 times you're getting your bonus attack. Whew. Really, really good.
Yeah.
It's all of the aspects of this rule that are just making it so good. It's once per this unit's activation, pick 2 friendly units within 12 inches, so you can pick itself and then something else. Round 1, you're probably not charging into melee, so you can just actually take round 1 and set up, and you set up the rest of your army. It's synergistic, it's powerful, it's lovely. There's Primal Roar, Primordial Warden. We'll come on to that again in a bit more detail in a moment. The other upgrades: Deep Strike. This model and its unit get Ambush. Short, simple, to the point, 25 points, we like it. Zealot for Fury of the Gods. This model and its unit get AP +1 in melee. That's really nice. There's some cute little synergies you can do, because Primal Roar isn't exclusive to the Gator Veterans, so you can get some more power there. And Crusader, Will of the Gods. This model and its unit get AP +1 when shooting. Now, Dave, you didn't say he's got any guns. What do you mean you can give a lizard guns? You can give the Gator Veteran a limited 18-inch A3 AP1 lock-on gun for 10 points. It's really because you can put them in other units and get guns that way. Frankly, I'm not taking my Gator for guns. I'm taking him for melee. You can replace the AP1 Blast 3 attacks with A3 AP2 each, or an A1 AP4 Deadly 3 attack. I quite like not changing his weapon upgrades and just giving him some upgrades from the auras.
Yeah, I think the Gator Veteran is actually 135 points.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you're ever not taking Primal Roar if you're taking this guy. The only other reason you've really taken him is for Deep Strike. So at the very least, he's at least 135 points, which I think is fair. Like Primal Roar, is, as you mentioned, is really good. You get to buff things up before the combat starts, which is like a big difference. it affecting multiple units is something you just always want to see. Anytime in OPR you see something that does something to more than one unit, you should be thinking, this is probably worth my time. I mean, you could go back through all our videos and you'll notice the same trend, right? Like, we love spells that hit multiple targets. We love things that buff other units. We love Poison Mist from the Alien Hives one, right? It hits 2 targets, blast 6, right? Like, time and time again, anything that hits multiple targets, whether it be buff, debuff, or damage, is just good.
Yeah.
And the Gator Veteran, I think, is the only... Actually, maybe the Saurian Veteran as well gets it.
The Saurian Veteran gets it, yeah.
I just couldn't remember if that was for fantasy only, but I think you're right. I think it is also a GDF. But Primal Roar's a great buff to see. Really, really great. I mean, it does some pretty nasty combos with it. We'll get onto Dragon Lizards later on who have reliable with this, which basically means this is just like shooty. So yeah, I think you're right about the weapon thing. I think you're probably just going, if you're sticking him in a unit of melee guys, you're sticking Primal Roar on him. The Power Knuckles and the Power Spike are nice enough, I think, but I'm probably just happy to not upgrade them. I'll let the unit pick up the slack if I need some AP. I think the Rapid Missile Pod, I actually like stuff like this. I mean, we've spoken about it before in the context of the Orc Melee Walker, where you can get a limited, it's called like a disposable railgun or something. Stuff like this is nice because at the end of the game in round 4, you're going to be in a situation where you're not always going to be able to charge and take an objective. So sometimes it's good to have something like this kicking around at the end of the game where you can just like go, oh, it's late game, 3 hits, AP1's probably going to get a hit, probably going to get a wound, and therefore it's probably going to trigger morale. And if they fail morale, then that could win you the game. And it's only 10 points.
Yeah.
So I like it, but I'm not necessarily taking Rapid Missile Pod every single time.
So we like the Gator Veteran. Now, hanging what I was saying about this Fury of the Gods, AP1 in melee, let's go and talk about the Saurian Veteran. And we will be looking at this Tyrannosaur, which is why I'm mentioning that now, but let's go through the rest of him. A 60-point base model for a 3-3, tough 3 hero. This is looking alright. He's got Fearless and Predator, 2 great rules, we're happy to see it. He comes with a close combat weapon for 2 attacks AP nothing in melee, and a veteran pistol, 2 attacks AP nothing 12-inch range. His upgrades, upgrade with 1, we've got Fury of the Gods, that AP1 in melee, which we like. It's got Pack Hunter, which is your advanced tactics, your double time, pick a friendly unit and move at 6 inches. Asterisk, that may be going. We understand that there's a big scrutiny of these moves coming up in the army rework, so that might be out the window. And then Will of the Gods for the AP1 when shooting. You can upgrade his pistol to be a 9-inch A3 rending gun instead, or an 18-inch A3 AP nothing carbine. You can replace his close combat weapon, and this is where we get the more exciting stuff as we're coming down. We get an A2 lance, which we like, a Power Claw, A2 AP1 rending, we like that, and a Power Mace, A2 AP4, we like that. Then you've got this upgrade with 1 where you get either its mount, a Raptor with Devour and Fast, or a Heavy Shield, which we've spoken about, or, the reason I love him, a 380-point mount upgrade. You make him your big centerpiece, the Tyrannosaur. Yeah. He gets an extra 6 attacks with AP2, an extra 4 attacks with AP1, his defense improves by 1, so he's Def 2 up, he gets Fear 2, he gets 12 extra points of toughness, so he's Tough 15, and baked into this all, he gets Primal Roar. And this is why it's nice to have one of these guys around with a Gator Veteran if you want to bring your Gator Veteran, because you can give your Gator Veteran that Fury of the Gods for that AP1 in melee, and you can get Primal Roar somewhere else in the list. Now, I love the Saurian Veteran. I think this is a point where we're starting to get into some of the crunch of the list already. Talk to me about your views on the Veteran.
2 Tough 15 is very hard to break through.
Yeah.
You're not paying many points for that. What is that, 440 points?
I'd
Even
say
if you do
it's
literally nothing else with it.
445, because at the very least you're taking the lance.
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah. But I think really you don't have to go that route either. You've got Fear 2, you'll be a 2-up on Death, you'll have 15 wounds, you're a 3-up qual into a Fearless check. This is the less aggressive than the fantasy version, but I still think it's good. I think it's quite underwhelming when you look at it. You go like, oh, the fantasy one gets 4 attacks on the base profile, and this thing has to stake a stupid pistol, and it's 15 toughness Def 2, right? Like, it's good. Now, I don't think this is as like must take as the fantasy version of it.
Yeah, I agree.
The fantasy version is exactly must take, but it's really good. But if you want a nice centerpiece, Primal Roar is obviously still good. Pack Hunter on top of that, the advanced tactics move. Together, you get a really nice utility piece that's really hard to move and has a boatload of attacks and has Fear 2 and has Fearless and all these things combined together. This thing doesn't have Strider or Flying or Fast, so don't expect it to be like killing everything because your opponent can play around it.
Yeah.
But making it a high priority target by giving it stuff like Pack Hunter and Primal Roar means that your opponent's kind of caught in a catch-22, right? They don't want to be doing 15 wounds of damage. They really do not want to be doing that, right? That this thing is almost unkillable, and if they start doing that, they're probably committing too many resources. However, it's doing lots of things on the map, and it's going to take an objective at the end of the game. And depending on how big the model is, it could even take 2. So yeah, this is a scary piece to have on the board anyway. I think we slightly passed over it before, but Will of the Gods, 70 points to give AP 1. This is trash.
Yeah.
Basically never take this. I don't really see the point in it. It's, HGF have a version of it where they can pick their target. It's a lot better there.
Yeah.
Because you can put it on big scary monsters. Here, at best, you're probably putting it in a unit of like Saurian Warriors, Saurian Guardians, and 70 points is a lot of points for only 1 AP. So I think you're probably leaving this at home and instead taking Pack Hunter probably. But yeah, so this guy's not as good as the fantasy version, but he is good anyway on his own.
He's great.
But I think I probably would play him Pack Hunter plus Primal Roar if I was going to. The only thing about Primal Roar is obviously the unit has to have a Predator, and not all the units do. As we mentioned, the Frog-Mages don't, and neither do the what are they called? The Chameleons and Geckos and stuff. So it does kind of push you in a certain direction in your list if you're starting to bring a lot of this. But I also think there's plenty of units in the list to support this playstyle. So yeah, you're pretty happy to see a big beat stick like this with Primal Roar.
Yeah. Saurian Veteran, good big beat stick. Let's move on to the Gecko Champion. The Gecko Champion, 40 points, so the cheapest hero yet. It gets you a 5/5 tough 3 hero. It's got Strider, it's got Fearless. So this is one of the lower quality ones. We're not quite in the punchy realm of the Saurian Veteran. It's still slightly worse quality than the Gator Veteran, but it has got Fearless to offset that in morale. It comes with a Champion Shock Pistol, which is a 12-inch A2 AP4 gun. Quite interesting. And an A2 close combat weapon with nothing else going for it. Now, this guy does just work out as a bit of an interesting specific piece because it's got different upgrades to what we'd see in the rest of the army. It's got vicious attack, so this model and its unit get furious, and if they already had it, it is on 5s and 6s instead. Very interesting considering that when you plant this into a unit of Predator models, noting that this guy himself doesn't have Predator. It's got this deep strike ability that we've seen on the Gator Veteran, 25 points, very nice here, and it's got access to Caster 2, only Caster 2, so something we're generally not too hot on, but we do like the level 1 and we're fine on the level 2 spells, but we like the level 1 spells, so that's a decent 35 point upgrade here. Then you can replace its pistol to go full melee. You can instead make it a A2 sniper. You could make it just more mid-range with 18-inch guns. You can shift it into a melee thing. The rest of the upgrades where we get some interesting positions here. Now you've got the phase backpack, which gives it teleports. That lets it drop into a unit of geckos when upgraded. Or you've got the chameleon upgrade to give it a good shot to shoot at 4+, and scouts and stealth. Both of those are really nice. Teleport is, Harvey, you say this is the best upgrade in the game. And I'm kind of inclined to agree with you, and we're going to come on to why that's so fun in a moment. Let's just quickly rattle through the mount upgrades. You can give it a Deinonychus for bounding and impact 1. Bounding, hilarious kind of rule, but also unreliable as we know. You can put him on a Palanquin, just giving him tough +3 and 3 more attacks in melee. We're really not doing that. You can give him a Ripjaw Dactyl, so he gets an extra A1. Fast flying, impact 2, joust, so his impact hits get AP 1, tough +3, and then this rule bait, which is when this unit is deployed, pick an enemy unit. All models with the bait special will get +2 to hit in melee when fighting it, so you can put him into a unit of Ripjaw Dactyls and make them a good assassin unit. Or you stick him on a Pterodactyl, Claw A1, fast flying, impact 2, tough 3, and then an assault bomb to go in with the unit. Once per game, when you move over enemy units, pick one and roll a die. On a 2+, the unit takes 3 hits with AP. So that's rattling through them. Really, the exciting ones are the Deinonychus, the Ripjaw Dactyl, and the Pterodactyl in terms of the mounts. But the other exciting things are these teleport, good shot, scouts, and stealth. Now, typically I'm in the camp of leaving the Gecko Champion at home. What do you think?
Yeah, so the Gecko Champion teleport is teleport's what we're going to talk about first, I think. So on the Gecko Champion, is teleport good? Teleport is good on everything that can take it.
Teleport isn't good.
Insane,
Teleport
right?
is great.
Yeah, so teleport is super fast, and it's also even better than super fast because it's also works when you don't want to be moving double speed. It's just straight up 6 inches. It's 6 inches that ignores terrain. It's 6 inches that means you can hop over impassable terrain. It's 6 inches that gives you an extra 6 inches of charge. You can teleport over other units if you want to. It's just great, honestly. When you play with teleport, you very quickly realize just how incredibly potent this ability is. So you just have to absolutely love it anytime you take it, right? If you haven't had a chance to play Night Brothers yet, you should go play Night Brothers. There's teleport everywhere. Take teleport and everything. You're squishy as hell, but it's super fun. Apart from that, what is this guy? So as you pointed out, Furious and Predator is a great combo. It means that you can get 6s on the first roll, get an extra hit, and then the Predator can also trigger Furious. So for 55 points, he's a nice little buffing unit. He's not a slouch either himself. If you take the Shock Lance Energy Shield upgrade, it's only 5 points. All of a sudden, he's 3 attacks AP4. Like, the shield will be wasted because he'll be embedded, but that's not a bad amount of AP4. You know, you'll get one of them, but if you've got Vicious Attack, then maybe you get 1.5 of them. So that's really nice. For Deep Strike, he's the cheapest you can get it for. So if you want to send something big into the enemy lines, then Deep Strike can be like that. So that's great. So we love him for that as well. Caster 2, I think he's okay for Caster 2. Caster 2s you can use to support your bigger casters, so they can cast their bigger spells and always be able to pump it. So for 35 points, he's pretty good for that. I think the Gecko Champion, the use cases for him, I would say, are ambushing.
Yeah.
I don't really ever use him for the vicious attack thing, though I think that's totally a fine thing if you want to do it.
Yeah.
Mount upgrades, you kind of touched on it. I think that the flying ones, the flying units in Sci-Fi Saurians are awful.
Yeah.
But I think on the hero, this is kind of fine. The flying Ripidactyls in this list don't get decent melee weapons, but this guy has access to A3, AP4. And so he, on his own with that, is actually quite nice because then he hits on 3s. He's got like 4 attacks that way, a couple of impact hits, stuff like that. So he's okay there. And the Pterodactyl's like a different take on the same thing. You probably use the assault bombs there, and you're probably combining that with caster to make a kind of annoying poking unit. Yeah. It's worth noting with teleport as well. You can fucking assault bomb from downtown, no problem. It's such a fast unit, it can be anywhere we want it to. It's got fearless, so it doesn't shake off points that easily. So yeah, this very quickly becomes like a really annoying unit for your opponent, because you could literally take it for 50 points. You could just take its base model, you could take teleport, and you could stick it on a flank 18 inches away from a point and round 4 teleport onto that point, right? Like that's how, and that can be its sole purpose. It can stay behind the same cover all game and just say to your opponent, come to my side of the board and deal with this problem. Otherwise I'm going to decap, right?
Yeah.
We'll just play that game. We'll play that game of chicken. So yeah, it's the cheapest hero. We always talk about the cheapest hero being a good thing. It's a good thing here, right? Like it's got access to 2 decent buffs. It's never going to be an offensive powerhouse on its own, but it can contribute enough for it to be like interestingly like integrated into units. Like it's not doing nothing, which is good. I think the sniper route is a bit of a troll route.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't really see that being used. And if you're picking between toxin gun and shock rifle, I think you probably just pick the shock rifle every single time.
Yeah.
I don't think the 1 extra attack on poison is better compared to the AP4.
You're
but I also
still
don't really see
hitting
this
on
guy
5s
massively.
anyway. Or
Yeah,
4s
like you can slot this guy into a unit of chameleons if you want and do that kind of thing. I think he does add a nice little bit of extra kick to a chameleon unit. Just 2 AP4 hits compared to all they're just poison. It's quite nice and gives you the split targeting that they don't normally get. But I think that's a rare use case for it. But overall, I think this guy's got a lot of stuff going for him, and only for 40 points. It's a great little hero. He's
a good little hero. I typically use him at home, but this is a really good example of why not to just go the full Zug stats damage stick approach.
Yeah.
You're very right about the whole teleport 50-point model thing, especially because he's got Strider, which means that 18 of his inches of movement will typically ignore terrain. It ignores most of the terrain in the game. So it's not just a case that you can be around for a single round 4 decap or a little cheeky take. You can do this quite effectively throughout the game if you deploy your objectives within terrain, knowing that you've got this guy, and those pieces of terrain maybe are quite close to one another, then he could be quite efficient at just being a little run around the back. Not going to hit you, but I'm going to nick your points. And then if you want to make him 85 points for the caster 2, he can pump your Frog-Mage. There is also the aspect... Oh, yeah, go on.
Well, I was just going to say also, like, we talk about being an annoying little pokey objective taker. You whack him on a pterodactyl, and then all of a sudden he's going even further, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's going 22 inches. He's threatening basically, an enormous portion of the board. And he's tough 6, so he's hard to move off stuff. So, yeah, very quickly for 115 points, you have probably one of the most threatening objective takers in the game for late game turnarounds, right? Like we've talked about it in loads of videos, but very fast plus Strider, like Trikes in Orcs, a great late game, right? Mm-hmm. They don't need to be that aggressive because they're not that many points, but they will move on to an objective if you don't deal them. So yeah, something to look forwards, look to enlist, especially when you've got like 100 points left or so. Always come and look at some Gecko Champions, see if you can fit them in, because they just do bits.
They do. So this is one of the reasons why the Gator Veteran, whilst it is one of the cooler ones, isn't often taken when I'm writing lists for Saurians.
Yeah.
Because this Deep Strike 25 points on 125 point base, it's this tough 6 hero thing. Like the tough 6 Frog-Mage is fine because he's doing so much else. And there, because of the defense 2+, it's quite good. The Gator Veteran quality 4+ isn't fantastic. Defense 3+ is kind of fine, but you're burying him, so you're not too worried. And if you're looking at Deep Strike, well, instead of doing 150 points, I could do it for 65 points. Ironically, the Gecko Champion, I think, is a better leader of the Gator squad than the Gator Veteran for that reason.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Anytime you want to use one of the auras, the cheapest one is always going to be the best one. It's just the way the game works, right? Like, you're not getting enough from a Gator Veteran for his points, I don't think, aggressively. I still think he's decent, bear in mind, but I think he doesn't serve the same role that a Gecko Champion could do.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Lovely, so that rounds out the heroes. Let's go on and have a look at the core units and what a core unit group it is. We're going to start out with the Gecko Cohort. 80 points gets you 5 models, very cheap here. They're 5/5s. They are Fearless and Strider, as we've seen with the Gecko Champion himself. They come with shock pistols and bashes and a shield for shield wall. Shield wall is +1 defense against hits that are not from spells. Their shock pistols are shockingly incredible. A1 AP4 12-inch guns. And then you can, if you want, you can get rid of the energy shields to give them an extra, and the bashes to give them 2 attacks each, but you're not doing that. What you're doing is you're upgrading all models with teleports. And when I say this, do not underestimate a Gecko Cohort unit with teleport doubled up. We're at 180 points at that point, but 10 attacks with AP4 is so scary.
Yeah, so quality 5 is, it could do literally nothing or it could do the world. It kind of feels bad to play with quality 5 because so often you will kind of flunk out. Interesting enough, for the Gecko Cohorts, I think the 2 ways I'd see it being played is either a single unit with teleport, or a doubled up unit without teleport. I think as you double it up to like 190 points or so for the teleport thing, you start to go like, this is quite expensive. They're great, right? They're fearless, they're qual 5, they have shield walls, they've got decent defense. So doubled up, they're actually a little bit of a roadblock. They're not perfect, but yeah, I'm a fan of the Gecko Cohorts. I think they're easy to overlook. Because I think if you want something that's more proactive in the game, you're basically never taking Gecko Cohorts. But AP4 is easy to underestimate, especially on such what looks like a weak profile. And obviously teleport's always great. I just think you start to spend quite a lot of points on teleport. If you take 2 of these, all of a sudden you spend 60 points on teleport, which is quite a lot for something that could die before it gets to activate. Compared to something like the Gecko Champion, whose sole purpose is going to be utilizing that teleport to win you the game. These guys probably need to also be active, which is why I say a unit of 5 with teleport's nice, because they can hide behind cover and not be in line of sight, and then do the same thing. But yeah, I think overall, yeah, the CCW thing, I think you're probably never doing that. I don't really.
Yeah, I don't think you're ever doing the A2.
No.
Now we're off to Bristol in a week and a bit's time. The first time I played at Bristol, my round 3 opponent was a Saurian Starhost player, and he had 2 veterans on Tyrannosaurs with the primal, with the primal rule, but also with the advanced tactics rule, which was terrifying. And he pushed them both up into me. And he had 2 doubled up units of cohorts with teleport, and I just completely underestimated it. And the first time he activated it, he dropped it out, hit 5 attacks, and just destroyed one of my units. I was playing Lust Demons. It was one of the tough 6 heroes. I just felt the morale shaken and then cleaned up really easily in the next activation. These things can absolutely whack you. So don't underestimate them if you see them on the other side. And then the added benefit, I think I'm a bit keener on these than you, and are doubled up with the teleport, is because when you eventually start to take some of them away, the unit can play that same role as the Gecko Champion that we talked about. Just flits away, teleports, picks up objectives.
Yeah, by no means is it bad.
Yeah,
I think just sometimes you can overspend on stuff like this.
You can,
be cautious about this kind of stuff, because it's very easy to go like, okay, I've given teleport to all my Gecko cohorts.
Yeah.
And half of them didn't get to use it because they teleport walls and die or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But
so you got to be a bit careful. But I think it's a good unit.
Yeah. I mean, overall, I think teleport's undercosted. So if teleport's undercosted, you should basically take it every time, because it is insane utility. Like, these guys have got Fearless Call 5. They're not quite Ghostly Undead. But they're pretty damn close to it, right? With teleport, right? If you make your fearless check, all of a sudden you're running away with your tiny little units, like you just said. They're teleporting 18 inches away. Nothing can stop them. That's really hard to deal with. So same role as the Gecko Champion, but maybe a bit more proactive earlier game.
Yeah.
So yeah, great unit.
Great unit. On to the core one in particular that you think of when you think of Saurian Starhost, the Saurian Warriors. 5 of these guys for 100 points. They are 4/4s with Fearless and Predator. They've got pistols, so an A1 12-inch shot. Each of them has close combat weapons that gives them 2 attacks in melee. You can replace that loadout with a carbine and a close combat weapon for 20 points, which is an 18-inch A2 gun and an A1 melee attack. Annoyingly, we've got one of these situations where it's replace 1 pistols, and then if you want to get the carbines, you can replace one of the pistols and then replace all of the pistols remaining for carbines, but you're locked at that 20-point upgrade slot. The replace 1 pistols, you can get a 12-inch flamer, which is nice, a 12-inch blast gun. A 24-inch A1 AP4 gun for 20 points is a bit much. And then the spike shooter is probably my favourite one here, other than the flamer, 18-inch A2 rending. The Saurian Warriors is a short and simple entry. I think they're excellent, and I think that when you're playing them, don't sleep on just taking 5 of them and giving them carbines.
Yeah, 120 points is a really, really nice little breakpoint for 10 attacks at 18-inch range. You have Predator as well, so the chances of you getting extra hits out of that is pretty decent. So yeah, I think the thing we have to touch on when reviewing Saurian Warriors, and we wouldn't be very good army list reviewers if we didn't, is the fact that the deadly gun is called Blast Gun. I think it's important that we pick up on this, because what is going on there? How's that happened? I like it must have had blast at some point, and they were like, oh shit, we want to add a flamer as well. I mean, I am kind of glad. Blast Gun sounds way cooler than Deadly Gun, so I'm glad that it isn't called Deadly Gun. At least Blast Gun makes you imagine how it's shooting, whereas if you just call it the Deadly Gun, you might as well just call it a gun.
Hey, you leave Nerf guns alone.
Yeah. So I think overall the Saurian Warriors is a decent unit. I think you can even double them up to 240 points if you want a big stack of these guys. With anything, to get value out of Fearless, you need to survive an attack. So it is nice doubling up units with Fearless, because then they get to actually do their Fearless thing. Otherwise, it can be a level of point tax, right? If you pay for 5 of these guys and they just die in one charge, you never get to use Fearless, you've actually overspent. So I like the Saurian Warriors. I think, unfortunately, for the way I like to play, I think they're a little bit overshadowed by the unit we'll get onto next. But yeah, it's nice and rounded.
Very nice and rounded. I'm in favour, actually, of taking one unit with your carbines, because 120 points for that is so nice. And yeah, you know what, Fearless can squeezing the points that can be attacks in that instance if these guys just get wiped out. But I think if your opponent's dedicating something that can wipe out a unit of Saurian Warriors to attacking a 120 point unit, you're feeling okay. You're feeling pretty happy.
You're probably fine. Yeah, and if you end up with the one model, then you're absolutely elated to have had Fearless go off, and then you can do the one model shenanigans.
Exactly. Right, so the Saurian Warriors, really solid core unit. Harvey's favourite unit now are the Chameleons, and I have to say he has used these quite effectively against me. 135 points gets you 5. They've got Fearless and Strider, so this is kind of like the Geckos that we've seen before. But these guys have got extra things here. They've got good shots, so they're quality 4+ when shooting. They've got Scouts, which, we're okay on. You love it. way more than I do, but of course that delayed deployment is so powerful. They've got stealth, so they play this ranged skirmisher game so well. What have they got to attack with? A1, AP nothing in combat, but you're not trying to do that. What you're doing is this, toxin guns. 18-inch A2 poison attacks. So for 135 points, you've got a quality 4 Scout Stealth Strider unit with 18-inch range, 10 attacks. What can you do in the upgrades? You can upgrade them all with a demo charge, and I'll let Harvey talk about his love of demo charges. And you can give them a beacon rule, which lets you have friendly units ambushing in, ignoring all distance restrictions if they're deployed just within 6 inches of this model, not wholly within 6 inches. For those of you remembering the Bad Rep, Bat Rep, and Jack of the Jackals, this is this rule again. The Chameleons, Harvey. Tell us all about your love for the Chameleons.
I just think for 135 points, it doesn't get more swell than this, you know? I think, so good shot, right? Great rule. It means you're not paying for morale. You're already paying for Fearless. You don't need an extra pip of morale. Sure, these guys can shake, right? Def 5 into Fearless is not like the best odds in the world. Qual 5. But I'd much rather have the efficiency of the aggressive profile. Scout, I absolutely love. It's essential that these guys have Scout because their whole thing is being in the right space in the board. For 135 points, they'll take an objective early, most likely. They're annoying to deal with because they have 18-inch guns, so your melee units can't get to them. They're annoying to deal with because they have stealth, so your guns who can get to them can't get to them properly, not in the way you'd want to, so it makes trading into them very inefficient. Strider is here for the shenanigans we talked about earlier, where you have one guy left, and then all of a sudden you're stridering around the map with this one annoying chameleon. This is not a powerhouse unit. I say this a couple of times through our reviews. It's not a powerhouse unit. What it is a really reliable, consistent unit. It's going to do what you need it to do. And because of Scout, because of deploying after them, because of taking whatever position you want halfway up the board, you shouldn't be losing this early on. And if you are losing it early on, it should have been part of what you were doing. Yeah. Maybe you put these guys at the front, and then if your opponent wants to go to close the gap with them, you crush them with some Raptor Riders or something. Right?
Yeah, you countercharge.
You play off it, right? Yeah, exactly. As for upgrades, Beacon I don't think it's very good on a unit like this. I think it's better served on a unit that has ambush, so you can play into your whole ambush turn.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay if you have 10 points kicking around, but to be honest, if I've got 10 points kicking around, I'm giving these guys demo charges. So hashtag give HDF Stormtroopers demo charges. Get it on Twitter trending right now. See if Tano sees it. This is like quite an unassuming upgrade. Most of the time it won't do anything. These guys obviously don't want to be charging into melee. They're quality 5. But what this is I'm going to run up and shake your APC that has no way of attacking back, because I only need to hit one of these to probably get a wound on it and then probably get a morale check. And if it's qual 4, you got a 50-50 to stun that thing. So I do like these things. It also can just be a last-ditch effort, right? If someone gets quite low on health, right? Even just like charging a unit of like Marines or something like that, right? You just go in there, a qual 5, hit a couple of them, maybe kill some of them, right? Like, see how it goes.
Yeah. If you're about to get
definitely
crunched,
an optional. Yeah.
This is a bit of a cornered mouse. It's got some teeth to it if you take the demo charge.
Exactly. Yeah. And it makes people think twice about charging it with APCs and stuff as well, right? Because if you're going with 3 impact hits and you hit 2 of them, then these guys can actually snap back and just like win that combat. Yeah. Limited lets them do that whole thing. Now that makes it sound like a really good upgrade. It's not. It's optional. You have 10 points spare and see if you can get to use it, because most games you won't, but the games where you have them, you'll be really glad that you weren't shooting 10 shots with poison at the Def 2 APC or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I'm a big fan of Chameleons. I think that for 135 points, you don't really get much better than this. So yeah, this is why I wouldn't take Saurian Warriors. I'd much rather take Chameleons.
Yeah, fair enough.
2 or 3 units of these guys in most lists, it will do you well. They're well below that kind of like 270 points we always talk about for 7 units. So yeah, 2 of these guys, you're at like that is 270 points. So you've already got like an extra 270 points there to spend on a different unit. So you can go get like a 400 point unit if you want to.
Are you looking to double them up ever?
No, I don't think so. These guys' role is to die if they get charged. That's their job. There's a bait thing. You need to be taking like strategic advantage of these guys dying, and then being doubled up to do twice as many shots. It doesn't really play that. If you're doubling them up, you're playing more into a different play style. At that point, you spend quite a lot of points on them. You spend that 270 points. So they've got to be strategically important to you, and you're probably using them for late deployment scout, putting them somewhere where they can wipe out a unit of chaff. because at that point you're shooting like 20 shots at qual 4 with poison, and that's going to kill most chaff units or like get them down to a pretty bad place. So instead you're playing like, we're going to try and take control of this flank with this unit. Like maybe we're playing against like an orc player who's trying to put some, I was going to say goblins, but they can't do that anymore. Put an orc mob on the side, then these guys would do really well into that. But I think they do well into it anyway, just with their base profile, right? Even just with 5 of them, right? You hit 5 hits with poison, you're probably taking off a bunch of orcs. So, and then they're not charging you because you're miles away.
Yeah.
So, love the Chameleons. I think they're great, very efficient.
That 18-inch, we've spoken about it before, it's such a sweet spot. Faster, it's further away than a fast charge, but it is still close enough to make sure that you're maintaining presence and pressure on the board. We like our 18-inch guns here. So the Chameleons are good unit. On to some of the more elite aspects of the core units. We've got the Saurian Guardians. These ones are the better warriors, as it were. You get 5 of them for 160 points. They are quality 3 defense, 3 fearless predator, a very nice profile. And they come with hammers, which are A2, AP2. So base profile here is already really sweet. Now, what else can you do with it? If you want, you can replace the hammers to get mace shots, which are heavy pistols, 12-inch A2, AP1, and 2 attacks in melee, but that's a 30-point upgrade. You can replace one of the hammers with a lovely profile, A1, 3. Remembering that we've got Predator in there as well, just consider how good that is. And you can then, for 10 points, not very much at all, upgrade all models with a heavy shield. The Saurian Guardians, I don't know, I'm a basic Saurian lover at this point. I think they're a lovely unit for 5 of them, and then for 175 points, you've got things that may come out as being usually 3/2s and some hell of a good load of whack in melee.
Yeah, I often find with units around this point cost that I feel uncomfortable with them, right?
Yeah.
Saurian Guardians, so A2, AP2 is a great stat line for offense. They've got Qual 3, they've got Predator, we're loving all that, right? They've got Fearless and Def 3, so that makes you go like, okay, this could be a major, like, middle of the board, hard to move unit, right? You double it up. And I'm like, ooh, 320 points. Ooh,
yeah,
God, that's giving me the heebie-jeebies.
And if you're doubling up, you want those shields.
Yeah, you do want those shields, so even more and more. So all of a sudden you end up with like an almost 400-point unit. I think these guys go really well with a Gecko Champion. Just get 5 of them, give them ambush. This is because there's not actually any ambush in this list. The only way of getting ambush is through the Gecko Champions and the Gator Veterans. So it's nice to be able to have an ambush unit in the game. I think it's just good. And having something with punch like this, that has a lot of punch, is great. The Great Hammer is, as the name suggests, Tony the Tiger approved. We take that every time. We just love to see that, right? Blast plus Predator, as mentioned already. Qual 3 Predator is like basically like having reliable. And yeah, this goes off, it's gonna hurt some fools. So where do I see them being played? I mentioned the ambush strategy. I think these guys really benefit from being inside transports because they are high priority. Like they don't really do anything until they reach you, so you want to kill them before they reach you. They don't have an easy way of reaching you. So yeah, inside the transport is an okay. There's only 1 transport in this list, so you're probably going the ambush strategy.
Yeah.
And I think if you double these guys up and do like big ambush stuff, you're probably gonna be disappointed because they can only kill 1 unit before they probably die.
Yeah.
The melee problem is exactly that, right? You're looking for really efficient melee units that can blow things up, and then it doesn't matter if they die on the countercharge. Whereas this, you're spending a little bit too much because of that Def 3 for them to die on the countercharge. But yeah, I think doubled up, you could see some luck. I think that I played with 2 of these guys with the ambush strategy last time I played Saurian Starhost, and I was pretty happy with the result there. But yeah, I think Def 3 is a weird breakpoint. Like, it's obviously very good, but you often feel like, they're not quite as tanky as I'd like, right? Like, I want that Def 2, really, if I'm going heavy shields, because heavy shields gets better the higher def you have. So, yeah, a weird unit. I think a good unit. I think with the ambush stuff, it's good. And if you're going for a Triceratops with transport, I think it's nice to stick 2 of these guys in it. But once again, even then, I wouldn't double them up. I'd rather have the 2 individual...
Yeah, 2 5s, right?
Yeah, 2 options.
That 1 unit of 5 punches so nicely. It really does punch well for its weight. That AP2 is doing a lot of work here. It's kind of the combination of that AP2, 2 attacks each on Qual 3 with Predator. There's just enough going on in the mix that they can really get through something. Thinking about, we talked about last week with the alien hives. When you look at a unit and an alien hives, we're saying, I'm a bit uncomfortable with it. If this unit were called slightly less furious Blood Battle Brothers, you'd be gassed, right? Or Blood Assault Brothers. If you compare this to the Blood Assault Brothers, this is one of the instances that really eggs on that whole hybrid debate. Because if you put Blood Assault Brothers side by side with the Saurian Guardians, I'd be much happier bringing the Saurian Guardians.
Yeah, I mean...
They fill their role.
They just need support.
Yeah,
right.
They just need
if they're in the Bloodlist, they'd be really happy, right? You stick them in a speeder, right? Brilliant, right? We're on the board killing stuff. This just doesn't quite have it. Because even with advanced tactics in the list, like advanced tactics in these guys is a bit like
you
move them forward to die sooner.
Yeah,
they need to have their own mobility really. So I think they do struggle because if you put them, they're such a great profile, so aggressive, so perfect, all the stuff I love. But you put them next to Raptor Riders, and I think Raptor Riders do their job a little bit better.
Fair enough. Saurian Guardians then, bit of a mixed review. I'm a bit warmer on them than you are, but you think there's better things to take. Next up, we've got the Gecko Snipers. So we're back into a Gecko unit here, 5/5s with Fearless and Strider. This is 3 models for 120 points, so we're on the cheap side here. They're called Gecko Snipers, so take a guess at what we've got. They've all got 30-inch A1 AP1 sniper rifles. It's about as pure as you can get it on the sniper front. How do you feel about the Gecko Snipers? Are you doubling them up and bringing a unit of 6 for 240 points?
First of all, I'm saying hello to Adam.
Hello, Adam.
Rude not to say hello to Adam.
He's our upgrade friend here at the bottom, which means that the unit has no upgrades and we see an HDF warrior.
I think that these guys are the poop. Fearless is not good when you have such a fragile unit. Strider is not good because they don't damn need it because they've got 30-inch range. They're probably moving half speed every turn anyway. 30-inch range is too much most of the time. You're paying a lot for that.
Mm-hmm.
AP1 is not enough AP to do your sniper job well enough. So as you pointed out, you'd have to double these guys up. They don't have scout or ambush, hunter, any of those decent effects that you see on the good snipers in the game. They can't be where they need to be early enough to be getting the value that they need to get. The big thing about snipers in this game is most games don't have enough good targets. You're not like, it's not a target-rich environment for the poor snipers, right? Most of the time they have like a caster or like a couple of regen guys, right? And yes, 30-inch range lets you kind of like do stuff with that, but scout is just way better. It just lets you be exactly where you need to be on that first round and immediately threatening stuff. So yeah, I'm just not really a fan of the Gecko Snipers. I think unfortunately a very, very weak unit. Sometimes you like to see stuff like putting the hero version of a sniper in a sniper unit to give it a little bit of extra kick.
Mm-hmm.
But even that, I think the Gecko Sniper with that is like 80 points, something like that.
You're trying a bit too hard. If you took a Gecko Champion, gave it Deep Strike and gave it Sniper, the problem is that we're at, what, 70, 110 points, 230 points for 5 sniper shots if you're taking that strategy. And yeah, you've got the ambush, but 250 points, I think I'd rather be doing something else. Now,
yeah, I mean, I think in that circumstance, you probably wouldn't take the ambush for 5 attacks at the AP, but even then, I still don't think that's good enough. You leave the poor Gecko Snipers at home because, like, would I really want to take these guys over just taking 15 points more expensive Chameleons? I know they fit different roles, but in terms of, like, average across many games, I'm probably going to like playing the Chameleons more than the Geckos.
Yeah. OPR is far more of a unit-based game than it is a hero-based game, and this is one of the points where that shows it's that snipers feel worse. It's a shame because if these geckos, so we've got the Chameleons who've got scout as their movement shenanigan, and then the Gecko Cohort who've got phase backpacks. If the Gecko Snipers had phase backpacks, they'd be a little bit more exciting at that point to double up and take, but even then they'd be quite expensive. It's hard. It's difficult. I think Fearless is the thing that's killing them a bit here.
Yeah, I mean, Fearless is killing them, right? We've seen more efficient snipers than this, like the Ratman snipers. It's exactly this, but way cheaper. So that's the one that you can double up to like 190 points, which is way more worth it, given it's doing the exact same thing as these guys for most of the time. Yeah, I just think if your snipers don't have Hunter, the ambush plus 2 AP thing, or Scout, then they're probably not getting their value. Overall, snipers are a little bit underwhelming, very specific, maybe local meta call unit, and unless they're really specialized, then you're probably not going to want to bring them in an all-comers list. So especially not these guys aren't doing enough, because at least with like the Hunter snipers, you can bring them down and you can do shots on normal units with high AP and at least pick off models, because 3 hits with AP3 is going to do a decent enough damage to a lot of units. But for this, it's just going to land or not even land. It's going to be there from the start and be a bit whatever.
Exactly. Sorry, Gecko Snipers. In the bin. Deinonychus Riders. Deinonychus? I always call it Deinonychus.
I would call it Deinonychus, but that is skipping one of the ends.
Yeah, I would always have called it a Deinonychus, but Deinonychus Riders. 105 points gets you 5 of these gecko-like models. They are quality 5, defense 5, fearless strider, so we know we're in the gecko school here. What is different about them? They have got shock lances and shields, so they get the shield wall rule. They are impact 1, which indicates they're mounted. Deinonychus Riders, they're riding dinos here. So they are... Do they get fast? No, they get bounding. And this is what we saw as well with the Gecko Champion when we were looking at his mount upgrades, which is when this unit is activated, you may place all models with this rule anywhere within D3 plus 1 inch of their position. So it's kind of like crap teleports, but 105 points for these is pretty decent. Impact 1 is a good thing. Their shock lances are A1 AP1. If you want, you can get rid of... Sorry, A1 AP4, not AP1. If you want, you can get rid of those for 15 points to get shock pistols. That A1 AP4 thing we've seen already. Now, there's a couple of things to discuss here. The most important question, Harvey. Do you roll bounding 1 dice per model, or do you roll 1 dice for the whole unit? Because I've seen this discussed.
Yeah, actually, that's insane.
I've seen that.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, you may place all models.
You would.
Yeah, within D3 plus 1 inches of their position.
Yeah,
we
so I'm
do it
rolling
on
1 per.
One per unit.
I also think, bounding is poop.
I don't think it's quite poop, but it's nowhere near as good as teleport.
It'll be what high elves have, right? Worst case scenario is what high elves got. Best case scenario, it's fast. So I don't know, like. It's fine. I don't know how much it costs compared to fast. I really hope it costs less than fast. The impact is, if you're a GDF player, you don't see impact much. You see it in HDF bikers, you see it here, and in the demon lists, I guess. Impact is nasty. Impact's great,
real good.
right? Like with quality 5, this takes up to quality 2 for attacks. I think you can afford to double these guys up. 210 points for a big stack of them. They're cheap enough there where your opponent does need to deal with them because they've got some mobility. Impact's really good at cleaning up chaff.
Yeah.
They've got AP on top of that, should they need to charge a tank or whatever. This is basically just like demo charges built into a unit. Shield wall means that they're def 4, which is not the worst, really not the worst.
50% less than def 5, though.
True. I think you have to double these guys up to get your real value from them. Because impact is like, as the name kind of suggests, it's like very, very like bursty play, right? Like these guys are going to fold on like the hit back. So what you really want to do is like roll 10 impact and hit 9 of them, and then also throw AP4 hits in there and go from there. So this is a nice unit, but I think it falls into the category of like units that are just like too fair. Yeah, too fair to really be included in a final list.
It's kind of like holding them back.
I think it is bounding that's holding it back. It makes it really hard to play them bounding because you have to assume that they move 14 inches.
Yeah. You the player controlling it.
And what bounding's doing is like, I mean, it's not like giving you any bonuses, like Strider-like bonuses, because you've got a 10 stack of these guys, so you're never going to bound far enough to be good. These guys are actually on enormous bases, I've just noticed.
I was about to say like this, right? Yeah. Do we want to have the bases conversation now?
Yeah, so like, the full cav base thing, right? Like, it's really, really hard to get 10 models in melee range using full cav bases without rotating them sideways, right? Like, unless you like literally, instead of stacking them all like this, you stack the front row like that and the second row behind them like that. Basically, if you turn the front row sideways, you can get them all in. And if you don't turn them all sideways, you can't get them in. The base, like 60 millimeters in length is more than 2 inches. You don't get your second ranking. So, and that's not even including just the size of that unit. It's enormous. It's like, it takes up so
Big
much
footprint.
space, right? Yeah, huge footprint. And this is not a very like dangerous unit. So yeah, it really, really shy away from taking double stacks of units that have big bases like this, because I think you can't hide them anywhere. You can't do anything like clever with them. You basically just have to 12 inch them towards the opponents and hope that they get their value.
This is the sort of unit that if my opponent turned up and had modelled them all on 32 mil bases, I'd be saying, yeah, fair enough, mate, because that's how you're going to get your unit of 10 into melee. without doing stupid shenanigans.
Yeah, and if they have cute little raptor models, then why not, right? You know, who's saying no to cute little raptors?
Exactly. Right now, you're saying no to cute little raptor models. You're saying that you're not too keen on them. I think I'm a bit more up on having a unit of 5 of these, because at 105 points, that's just really cheap and efficient. And because I'm a chump for it, I love the big stompies. So the more of your other units that are cheap, the more room you've got for your big stompies. Like the Saurian Veteran on the Tyrannosaur. If you want to have 2 of him in your list with the Pack Hunter, then you want other units to make up your cap. And Deinonychus Riders, Dino Riders, are, I think, quite a good one for that. That mostly is because of this 5 hits with impact. If that were Devour, like we see in the fantasy ones, I'd be way less keen on them. I'd be way less keen. But that you can have 5 hits, like, as close to guaranteed as you can get, they are very good at 100 points, I think.
Yeah, that's fair.
So that's the Dino Riders. Let's move on to more riders. We've got the Dactyl Riders to kick into now. So again, we've seen the Gecko Champion and how he can be on a Ripjaw Dactyl to join in with the Dactyl Riders. They don't get the full name. Oh, that's it. It's when you get the breeds in there. So yes, we've got the Gecko Champion who can join this, and you get a unit of 3 Dactyl Riders, 45 points. They are 5/5s with Fearless. They have Flying rather than Strider here because they're on winged dinos. Tough 3. We're going to come on to that in a minute. They come with Fast, which is really good. Fast and Flying, excellent to have. They have all got 2 attacks in combat, split out weirdly into close combat weapons and claws. And they've all got Impact 2. They've also got shield walls, so this is back up to the Death 4+. This is, I think, is this our first time reviewing a Tough 3 unit of 3 mounted models? Is this the first time we're having this conversation? I think it might be.
No, it's not, no.
With the orcs and the...
Orcs have the new Berserker Rider things.
Yeah, the new Berserker Riders. So the reason I'm mentioning this for the people at home is that you've got this interesting way of outputting maximum damage potential on a Tough 3 model when you have these models. This is the Battle Val aspect that if you're a Tough 3 model, the maximum damage output in a single activation that you can express if you're not caster or other special rules is 4. You can have 4 attacks. So these models would be within Battle Val's consideration of okay if they could output 4 hits on their close combat weapons. What you see very often by design is instead they have 2 attacks in melee and 2 impact hits. And we're both hot and cold on this. It's good because half your attacks are on quality 2+, but it's bad because when you're fatigued, you only get 2 attacks, you don't get 4. So it's a bit of an interesting pairing to have here. Now, the Dactyl Riders themselves, so you can have either the Ripjaw breed for that Bait and Joust that we've spoken about. Bait, very interesting, pick a unit. All models with this special rule get +2 to hit in melee when fighting it. And Joust, so their impact hits get AP 1, so that's good. This Bays, if you have 2 units of Ripjaw breed Dactyl Riders, you pick 2 enemy units, and then if you wipe out 1, the rule still applies. All models with this special rule get +2 to hit when fighting it, so you can then go on to the second one. So that's just an interesting thing to note. 30-point upgrade, very nice. Or you can have them be Ptero breeds, so pterodactyls. For the assault bomb, you fly over them. Once per game, you drop bombs on it on a 2+. The Dactyl Riders, quite cheap as a base unit. What do you think about them?
I think so the fantasy version of these guys get better weapons. Yeah. So the Ripjaw breed makes sense. I think if you've ended up in a situation where you have 2 units of Ripjaw breed Dactyls in your army, have you randomized your army? I don't know how you got there, right? Like Bait obviously has basically no synergy with their weapon profiles. They've got 2 A2, right? Like maybe throw on some chaff. Joust is really nice, but you're only impact 2, so it's not massive. The unit is kind of like pretty underwhelming unit. It will charge in and it might get some decent hits off, but realistically on the snapback it's probably going to die, and it's not durable enough really on the snapback to get to survive the next round. So yeah, I think a little bit underwhelming there. The range things you can do with these guys, I think, is taking the mick. Are we really going to replace everything so we can attack 3 times AP4?
Yeah,
155 points.
You're not replacing the close combat weapons and the claws with like mutually mutually, what am I trying to say here? Mutually outputting guns. You're only replacing the close combat weapons with A1. So it's 3 gunshots on what is then, I think, a very expensive unit for A3 at 18-inch or 12-inch range.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that's just bad. Now, the Terror breed, the assault bombs, I think is a place where you could play these guys. Each one of them could do 9 hits. Each one of them could do 3 hits AP1 or 2 up, which gives them a lot more burst than the Ripjaw breed does, despite the Ripjaw breed seemingly being the pick a target one and go kill them. Because just getting 9 AP1 hits if you get lucky, and then also you get your 6 impact hits, and then maybe you get some melee hits as well. That's actually starting to stack up and be quite a lot of hits. The other version is just a really terrible version of that. The other thing about this as well is when this unit is deployed, pick 1 enemy unit. Now, I read that as a unit that's on the board. Traditionally in OPR, you can't pick units that are off the board, which means that also this guy forces your hand by you have to deploy him later.
Yeah.
To be able to get any use, right? Because
you
your target, you want to do it.
That's a fair point, yeah.
Yeah, so you lose the flexibility of having a cheap unit like this where you maybe want to deploy it first to kind of store your opponent's deployments. The only time bait is good in this army is with the actual Gecko Champion, because he has access to that 3 attacks AP4. So he actually benefits from it, because often he goes from a 5 to a 3, and he's got the 3 attacks AP4 there. Yeah, exactly, right? So he actually really benefits from it. But I think that's the only real situation where I'd see this being used. I think the assault bombs are just better. But I think overall, I just have no drive to put Dactyl Riders in my army. I think Dactyl Riders are really, really cool. I think the fantasy versions get an A4 12-inch AP1 version of them, which I think is fun. But overall, yeah, these are just I don't know, I feel like they're just missing some upgrades, missing something that makes them interesting and unique. Obviously, a lot of the sci-fi Saurian list is very similar to the fantasy Saurian list. With this being an OPR release, I don't know if they had a list before. I don't know if this is based on a Mantic release or something, but I feel like they could have done a bit more with them when they were designing them, right? We're talking Mecha Godzilla, right? It's basically the army idea, right? And Mecha Godzilla has nothing that makes it really mecha, I guess, right? All these sci-fi Saurian stuff, is there anything in here that makes you think they're that sci-fi apart from more AP4? Yeah, but even the guns aren't they're not massive AP or whatever, right?
They're more
blowpipes.
Dinos.
Very similar.
Yeah, blowpipes in Grimdark Future is an interesting one. They're more dinos than they are. They're dinos in space than they are space dinos.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I just think give us something a bit more interesting here. The Dactyl Riders, I think, they're just not really. I mean, I'm not a massive tough 3 guy. You're the tough 3 guy. So the fact that you're not jumping on these guys,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it goes to show that they're probably not the unit. I think.
I was going to make a comment of going. I don't think I have ever put them in a list, not even to try them out once.
Which is damning, right? It's damning if you haven't even tried them, put them in a list and not even play, right?
Yeah.
Going I wonder what a Dactyl list looks like. Well, I'm just so underwhelmed by the time I've reached it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're going to play the Terror breed, I think that's actually not that bad.
I hate these effects, though. I hate them.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't go off, yeah.
This is a bad limited reliable attack. It's a melee limited reliable attack with some flexibility.
Yeah, the advantage of it is you can put on 2 different units, unless it affects multiple units, and then you can impact something else. So there are situations where this versus 2 chaff units is going to do very well. But I think overall, they're 5 in a game where there's more shooting. I guess it's their forward shield wall is still not great.
Yeah.
No, I think there's just more powerful things to be doing with this army list.
We'll come on to it in a moment, but when you're looking at your tough 3 offering, for 145 points you can have this, 175 with this upgrade, or you can just have Gators. I think I'm far more on the Gator side of things. So Dactyl Riders, are we giving it the emoji?
The emoji? No, I think these are better than Snipers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I genuinely think Terror breed gives them something to actually use. They're better than Snipers. Yeah.
Not in the bin today, Dactyl Riders, but you are
Riders,
probably staying at home.
Don't take more than 2 units of it, even in a Dactyl list.
Or do it. Do it for the memes and let us know how it went. In theory, 3 Dactyl Riders, 3 Gecko Champions on Ripjaw Dactyls. It's an army.
The best thing the Dactyl Riders do for the Saurian list is give Gecko Champions Dactyls. It's the honest truth, right? Because they exist, these guys get to have these upgrades, which I think do have that application we talked about before.
There we go. Well done, Dactyl Riders. You've been given a reason. It's to make someone else better. Let's keep going on the Riders. We're on the Raptor Riders. 135 points gets you 5 tough 1, 4 3s. These are your Saurians on Raptors. They're super cool, by the way. Go check out the minis. They have got fast, fearless Predator. So fearless Predator, what we'd expect to see, and fast as well here. They've got Devour. It's this unit. This is the unit I was talking about, comparing it to the Deinonychus Riders. When this model attacks in melee, roll a die. On a 6+, the target takes a wound. Not a hit, straight to wound. Do not pass go. Do not collect 200 currency. Do not do anything. You just take a wound. Interestingly, you still get regeneration and other effects against it, but that's a separate point. What do we get for this 135 points? We get everyone having an A1 12-inch pistol and everyone having 2 attacks in melee with close combat weapons. You can replace the pistols at 5 points a pop to be a 9-inch A2 and AP nothing rending pistol. I'm not doing that really. When I'm taking the Raptor Riders, I'm replacing any of the close combat weapons. And what am I replacing them with? One of 3. For 5 points, you get a Power Spear, which is A2 Lance. Great rule. Another one is Power Claw, A2 AP1 Rending. Another great loadout. Or Power Maces, A2 AP4 for 15 points. Now, rounding seems to be stinging a bit here. 15 points is a lot. But the Raptor Riders, I think if you took all Lancers, just taking it at that sort of loadout, where we're at plus 25 points to 160 points for this, I think that's a good unit. Also, it breaks Balval.
Yeah, so I mean, this is why I like Devour, right? Like, I think Devour is good because it gives you like punch above Balval. Straight to wounds is nice as well. And then also, like, this is a Predator unit, so Lance kind of works double time on it because it's giving you a bonus to hit on the first hit and on the second hit if you do get it off. I think Raptor Riders are great. I actually prefer Raptor Riders in sci-fi than I do to fantasy. The fantasy versions get 1 lances and they get impact. They're different in that, but I think they are actually better having the lances. They're fast. You should be getting the charge, and hitting on 3-up is way better than hitting on 4-up.
Lance.
You get 10 attacks with AP1 there. The Devour can sneak in a couple of extra wounds. You probably get 1 maybe, then Predator on top of that. You've got a pretty decently heavy hitting unit for something that's only 160 points. It's going to trade up most of the time. I quite like to get a unit of these and also add in a Saurian Veteran on the Raptor.
Mount, on a Raptor, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a real use case for heroes as like giving a unit 50% more stuff. I think it's better in the fantasy version of it, but yeah, so you can throw that guy in there, throw him on a Raptor, give him Lancers, give him the +1 to hit if you want, or whatever you want to go from there. It just makes them a slightly better unit of Raptor Riders without doubling them up, where they become really expensive. So if you've got spare hero slots, they're good for that. A classic use case for that, for me at least, is like, 5 Wraiths for Ghostly Undead. If you add an Ancient Wraith to it, it keeps them quite cheap, but you do get an extra 3 hits from it. So it's similar here. Oh, 4 hits from it, actually, maybe. I don't know. It's been a while. So similar kind of idea, right? Like you take a unit that's like that kind of weird middling points, and you want to make it slightly more elite, so you sprinkle a little hero on top of it.
We need a swear jar for you for every time you compare a unit in another army to Ghostly Undead. That's what we need.
I mean, it's the highest compliment. It's the highest compliment.
That and calling it a Flamer Beast. Those are the top 2.
That's true. It depends what kind of Flamer Beast it is, but yeah.
It does. So the Raptor Riders, overall, pretty positive analysis here. Give them Lance, enjoy that. Yeah, so the combo Harvey's mentioning there when he's talking about Lance and Predator. When charging, this model gets +1 to hit rolls and AP +1 in melee. So if you are charging with the Raptor Riders, you're hitting on 3s with AP1. Predator simply copies your attack in the moment. It doesn't copy your base profile. So when you're rolling your second attack with Predator, you're not rolling at quality 4 AP nothing. You are rolling with that Lance effect. You are rolling at quality 3 with impact 1. So when you've got 10 attacks coming in, on average it is 1.5 Predator hits. Obviously that doesn't happen. You don't get half a hit, but that's the maths. That's the bad maths.
1 hit, I get 3.
Yeah, there you go. Or sometimes 4. And then for me, the second attack misses and all 3 of yours hit. So that's the way that works. So Lance and Predator has a good little bit of synergy there. So the Raptor Riders, for a very cheap amount, can really then punch up. And again, back to what I was saying earlier, being a big sweaty nerd who likes big stompy things, this being cheap gives you more space for your big things. And then the fact that this unit has Predator combos well with the Primal Roar. So we're getting some really nice effects there. One more thing. Impact doesn't work when you're fatigued. Devour does. I still don't love Devour, but it's got some upside to it.
Yeah, and I will say these guys are Dev 3, which is, for the cost, I think quite good.
Yeah, very good.
Like, if you do the Lance thing on these guys, you compare them to Saurian Guardians, you get a unit that's the same price. Is that right? I think so. They're both 160 points. Yeah, you're
160,
yeah. Yeah, 160, yeah. So that's without any upgrades on these guys. You get the same defense, roughly the same quality. These guys have got fast. Devour means they punch a little bit higher. So you're losing on like 1 AP, but you're gaining fast. I think it's a good trade-off.
Yeah, that's valid.
So much more likely to take these guys than the Guardians because they're more self-sufficient, right? They do their own thing. 16-inch throw range is good. And they're not so many points that if you lost them because your opponent shot them, then you would be sad. Yeah, and if you want to, I mean, like most things, like I shy away from doubling things up unless I'm running out of points, unless I have points to spare even, or I have a very specific strategy in mind. But you could also double these guys up if you wanted to, and you could just like shove them up the board and go cause chaos. I just think that you greatly increase your risk with that kind of thing. But yeah. I also see like anything starting with like a 3 or more in the hundreds and go like, oh God, we need to really think about this.
You're far closer to that. You want 10 units of 200 points average in your army.
Yeah, I am.
So it's a bit of a different approach, but yeah, they're good. We like the Raptor Riders. Very well done, folks. The Raptor Riders, a good, efficient unit. Let's move on into the big, tough beasties. The ones that are my favourite. I've touched on them already. I love the unit of Gators. 165 points. Only criticism is that they're quality 4. But the rest of them are great. You get 3 tough 3s with defense 3+. They're fearless and predator, which we like. They all come with 4 attacks. Don't let the 3 bashes and 6 bludgeons throw you off here. They are maxed on Balval for that reason. The bashes, each one has 2 attacks AP nothing, and then they each carry 2 bludgeons, which are A1 lance. We've spoken about how good lance is. We've spoken about how good lance is with predator. You can replace any of those bludgeons with a heavy shooter. Now, this is interesting because you can make them A4, AP1 ranged attackers, which with Predator is quite nice. So heavy shooters, quite interesting. Also Gators with double heavy guns. Ruler Cool is coming in here.
Yeah, that's cool.
So that's good fun. Or you can replace the A1 Lance with a Power Claw for A1, AP1 rending, or A1, AP2 on a Power Knuckle. I'm not doing it too much. There is a shooty loadout though, as I've mentioned, that heavy shooter one, because they also have this even more way of breaking Balval. Upgrade any model with a missile pod. A1, AP1 limited lock on at 18-inch range for 5 points, which I think is pretty good going in terms of the points cost of that A1, AP1 gun. That's it though, there's not much more to talk about. Gators for a very cheap block of 3 tough 3 units.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this makes you think, like, did Tano just forget the heavy shooter on the Gator Veteran? I mean, he must have done, right? Like the Gator Veteran has an AP shooting upgrade and has no ranged weapons himself. Right? Like, it's just missing. Yeah. It is just missing.
That's
right?
fair.
Like, it should be there. Do not take the AP upgrade, even if he adds it. Don't take that. But the Gators, what are the Gators? So, I think with their base profile, I'm leaning towards Raptor Riders again.
Yeah.
I actually quite like the shooting version of them. It gives them 18-inch threat range, predator, missile pods are good. I think it's a shame that you have to replace the bludgeons instead of the bashes, because if you could keep the lances and then also get AP, then you'd have quite a threatening melee unit.
Yeah.
Because remember, for each of these you have to replace. So it's actually 10 points per model. Yeah. So it's 30 points to replace them all with AP2. This is a nice premium source of AP in the list, though. I think I prefer these guys to the Saurian Guardians if they're unsupported once again. And with most tough 3 things, you don't need to upgrade all the units with the weapons, right? Like, I think we mostly prefer to upgrade 2 models and leave 1 model unupgraded. The bludgeons are still great. And if you lose a model, you haven't spent those extra points on something that never got any use. So if we say 20 points here to get the power knuckles on the go, then it's 185 points, which I think is a nice cost for a 4-3, tough 3, fearless predator, bunch of AP2, a couple bits of lances, and then maybe you take the missile pods as well. Once again, like, you don't need to take the missile pods. You don't need to upgrade all 3 of them if you don't want to, right? Like, just do 2 of them. And there's just 10 point saving there. What you're using them for is like pinging things that are that you've moved on to an objective and you want to still have a turn. like just 2 hits, so AP1 is pretty decent for that. For only 10 points. Is once again a rounding thing, though. I imagine that probably costs maybe less than 5 points. Maybe not.
I don't mind 5 points for it, though.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm happy to pay 5 points for that, yeah. So, yeah, Gators, I think, are solid, right? They're very much like Saurian Warriors, right? They feel good. You're not like, your jaw's not hitting the ground, but they're good, right? Like Lance is a good rule, even with the base profile, hitting on 3-ups.
Yeah, exactly.
12 attacks or whatever. Sure, only 6 of them are with the Lance, but yeah, I mean, if you take Gators, you won't be disappointed.
Yeah, I like them. I do like them. I just overlooked that they're so cheap. They're like 205 points in my mind, but that's probably because of the way that I'm upgrading them. They're really decent cost. So Gators, good unit. Well done to the Crocodile boys. What's interesting though is we are getting to this point now for the Saurians of saying we like the list. I think I like the heroes the most. And then otherwise we're looking at some specialist units here, like specifically from where you like to play, the Chameleons and the Deinonychus Riders, the Dino Riders, are probably the two that you're going to be... Sorry, the Raptor Riders, not the Dino Riders. The Chameleons and the Raptor Riders are the two that you're going to be looking to put into the army. But that's not very many at this point. So we're getting kind of a brittle picture, I feel, which is
yeah, I think so.
Quite the opposite of what you'd expect for the Space Lizards. But let's go on to the rest of it here and see what we've got that can round that out. We're going to start with the Cyber Swarms. We see our friend Adam, the no upgrade HDF warrior there. Swarms, excellent units, so cheap for what you get, and then if you stick any source of morale mitigation on them, they skyrocket in value disproportionately, and that's what we've got here. So your little robot snake, 60 points for 3 tough 3s, that's already 60 points for 9 wounds, which is a lot. They're Def 6 quality 6, so they're efficient, and Def 6 can never be broken by AP. They're Strider, and they're fearless. They've got 3 attacks with poison and melee each, but you don't care because what an excellent, versatile piece is the Cyber Swarms.
Yeah, I think they're a really, really cheap swarm. Fearless basically means they have qual 4 for morale checks. How often does qual 6 go off? It does off occasionally, right? Occasionally. But yeah, having the 4 up behind it is really nice. As I mentioned before, this guy plus Frog-Mage is a match made in heaven as far as I'm concerned. You either go Frog-Mage heavy shields or Frog-Mage cyber swarms, I think. Apart from that, it's just always nice to see a 60-point unit.
Yeah.
I think the Gecko tech I was talking about before, where you have a Gecko guy who's just like taking points, this is they're 10 points more expensive than that. Right, so if all you're using them for is like really sneaky end game snipes, I'd actually probably take the Gecko instead because he's 10 points cheaper and he plays a very similar role and he has a much longer range of threat. But otherwise, these guys obviously have 9 wounds over 3. So if you just want something that you can just like move and maybe body block with or line of sight block with, take these guys instead. Yeah, you can't go wrong, right? You see a swarm unit in a list and you go like, that's really nice to have because at some point I'm going to have this amount of points left over and I'm going to want to stick one of these guys.
Yeah, they're so cheap. If you consider as well that in that activation scope that we're looking at, 200 points on average if you're going for 10 units, 270 points on average if you're going for 7. Having a 60-point unit that is so effective at what it wants to do is great. It just gives you so much more breathing room in the rest of your list to take my favourite things, the big stompies. So the Cyber Swarm, A+ unit. Well done, Cyber Swarms. So now we're getting on to the lizards of the space lizards. The dragon lizard and the spiked lizard. I nearly called it the spiced lizard then for some reason. I don't know why I wanted to do that one, but oh well, here we go. Dragon the lizard. 160 points gets you a tough 6, quality 4, defense 3 model. It's got Strider and Fearless, so similar sorts of things that we've seen before. It's also got Furious. Now, this one doesn't have Predator yet. It has got an A2 heavy flamer here, 12-inch, AP1, blast 3 reliable, and annoyingly, this is where it's got the Furious for. It's got A3, AP1 in melee, so pretty bad actually. Not happy to see the Furious here. You can upgrade it for 5 points with a Lizard Handler who gives it Predator. Now, it's that point that this becomes a bit more interesting because you've got that combo of Predator and a blast weapon.
Yeah, so this guy is like the ultimate display of what you can do with Predator. This guy is 165 points, just to be clear, right? Yeah. He's not 160 points, he's 165 points. I always take the Lizard Handler upgrade. Predator works with Furious really well, and Predator works with Blast Reliable really well. So he's like the ultimate display of what you could be. I think it's a shame that he doesn't have Fear 1. I think that would make him really nice because it would give him some opportunities to go against tanks. I do think like a Heavy Claw plus Furious plus Predator can surprisingly spike things. Mostly what you're doing with the Dragon Lizard is you're like moving into range, you're trying to blow something up with the Flame Burst, hopefully you kill the unit, and if you don't, then, you know, you rinse repeat next turn. So if you kill the unit, then you rinse repeat next turn. If you don't kill the unit, then they might charge you, and you're not a complete slouch in combat. You don't get the Furious, but you've got 3 AP1s, you've got Fearless, Qual 4, and maybe they don't deal with you, and then you can go for a charge if you want to go for some melee shakes or so. It's a real generalist unit, and I think for 165 points, you'd be hard pushed to find something as generalist as this.
Yeah.
A Def 3 Tough 6 isn't like the most durable thing in the game, but it's durable enough, and AP, like, you know, Heavy Flamers, you know, we've said enough about Heavy Flamers on this channel, but Heavy Flamers plus Predator is great. And obviously if we're playing a Predator list, then all of a sudden you can get these on 5s and 6s, and then you can very quickly see this thing starting to do 9 hits AP1 for 165 points, and yeah, then it's starting to really slap.
It is starting to slap at that point.
Yeah, there's just also, I just like, once again, you know, Teenage Harvey, you just love him, right? You just love him, honestly. You just love him. It's just so cool, right? You know, like the big like salamander minis. Oh my god, they're so great with the little gecko handlers and stuff. Like, oh my god, yes. I like it's stupid, but it warms my heart so much. I would just take him in a list. Just take one in every single list you ever make. You know, this guy should be called Dragon Beast, right? Because you take one of them, he's great.
Dragon Beast, very nice. He's a slightly shorter range Flamer Beast, is what he is.
Oh, sorry, I fucked that up. I should have said that one. So, sorry, for anyone watching, like literally, Teenage Harvey took over there. Can we start again?
That's how powerful it is,
very
right?
cheap Flamer Beast.
Exactly, right? OPR logic out the window. We're just on the teenage loving a little lizard.
Exactly. Flamethrowers are good. We love flamethrowers.
Are good. And if anyone wants to send Harvey his own resin printer so that he can print an army of dragon lizards, let us know and we'll find a PO box number for you. I'm sure Harvey would love his opportunity to just print lots of little dragon lizards and put them up all around his flat.
Oh my god, yeah. Like if we had the following where we could just ask people to send us stuff in a PO box, right? Right now I'd just be like, just send me all your printed salamanders. Just like literally just flood my box. I'll run it. I will proxy every single list in the game with salamanders. I don't give a damn, right?
Do you mean the little
big ones,
the
little ones?
Just anything, any
size. Literally any size of lizard, I will proxy every single list in the game, and I will headcanon that shit so it makes sense. Like, yeah, hell yeah, dude, I'm all over that stuff.
Christmas presents.
I've been saying for the longest time I want like a list that I can. I've been saying for the longest time I want like a list that I can proxy every list with, and yeah, fuck it, why not? Why wouldn't it be dragon breathing fire, a fire breathing dragons,
a dragon breathing fire rescuing the fearsome princess from the innocent castle.
The tower from the princess.
Yeah, that's it, the tower from the princess. The fearsome fire-breathing princess from the dragon's castle. Wow, we really went on a tangent there. That got out of hand. Dragon Lizard, we like you. And we've also decided on what our Christmas present for Harvey is this year. Good job, Dragon Lizard. You've fulfilled many roles. Rounding out the core units, we've got the Spiked Lizard. Now, if we were talking about another Flamer Beast, this is another Flamer Beast. 155 points gets you, quite similar to the Dragon Lizard, a quality 4 defense 3 tough 6 fearless strider unit with some difference. First of all, this one has interestingly got heavy shield. The spikes are bone plates here, I suppose, and its Flamer has no AP, but is at 18 inches of range. And it's got the Predator Handler upgrade for 5 points, so same view, I suppose, here, Harvey. You like this, and this is a 160-point unit, not 155.
So every time we've ever spoken about Spike Lizard, we've had this exact same conversation.
It doesn't have
reliable.
No, every time. He's not lying. Not a single word of a lie. Every time I forget it doesn't have reliable.
Every single time.
I saw Blast 3 word, right? That's what I saw. Blast 3 word, and I presume that word was reliable. This is much worse. Silly Dave forgot to remember this. No, Spike Lizard.
Who doesn't believe me either? Like, go back to our UKG review, right?
I do the exact same thing.
The exact conversation we just had there.
I have built lists and sent them to Harvey being like, how great is this? And he's like, you've got the wrong lizard. You've got the wrong lizard in there because you've got the Spike Lizard. you've not got the Dragon Lizard. Every time, it's such a blind spot for me. Right, so the Spike Lizard, crap Flamer Beast.
Indirect is not good. I think I say this all the time, but your unit should be moving forwards.
It's
Literally
a
every unit in the
movement-based game.
It's a movement game, right? The last thing you want to do is not be in range of objective at the end of the game. It happens a lot when you're new to the game. People will walk towards you. You'll either stand still because you're just going like, I shoot, and you don't think about movement, or you move away, and that's even worse. So many games have ended where people are still in their deployment zone. You want to be moving forwards, right? Like, to use the fact this thing has tough 6 and def 3, you need to be getting into combat. It needs to be shot. It needs to be meleeed, right? And you paid cost for those, right? So you want to use them up until the point where it doesn't die. That's the cleverness of it, right? You want to put it in positions where your opponent wants to shoot it, but hopefully can't wipe it out. It has fearless, right? Qual 4. It won't run, right? Or it will, but not very often.
25% of the time.
And there we have the problem with indirect. We want to be moving forwards, right? To get a shot on the first turn, you're going to be shooting at Qual 5. There's no AP on this either, which makes it not as good. What we said about Lances and Predator applies here with indirect. So you shoot with Predator, you roll a 6. The follow-up roll is a 5 because you've done the indirect thing. So it's just not that good. Heavy Shield is okay. I think, like, I just prefer it on def 3. The second it's def 3, it's like super def. When you see it here, it's like a worse version of having +1 def. So
Do you mean on
it does
def 2
like,
you prefer to see it?
Sorry, yeah, I prefer it on def. I don't know what I said, but yeah, I prefer it on def 2. On def 2, it's like being def 1. On def 3, it's like being def 2.5. So it's not quite as effective as it could be.
Thing is, because of how much AP there is in Grimdark Future, it actually feels like being, and I know this just feels not actual mathsing out, but it feels like you're on def 3.5. And I know that really what you're doing is ignoring that first AP, which is important, but when you hit the AP2 and it's like, oh, actually now I'm a def 4, oh, this is just, I don't know why, there's something in my body, in my soul that just sees that on def 3+, like, which is weird, because now I'm giving a conflicting review, right? Because I do like having the heavy shield on the Saurian Guardians, but I think when we're in this patch of it being the single tough 6 model as well, yeah, I'm just suddenly a bit less happy.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I actually think, I don't know exactly if this is correct, but I think it's probably more effective on the tough 6 models because the break point between life and death is 100% effectiveness versus 0. So if you manage to make one more check, and as such you take 5 wounds instead of 6, then you've got massive value out of Heavy Shield. Your whole unit is still activated.
That's it.
Whereas if you do that with Saurian Guardians, right, you have one model left, and you've still been absolutely new to it. It didn't really matter that much. So
there's some logic. My gut
effective.
Instinct there is just wrong. I don't know why. I can't explain why I feel that way. It is just wrong because that's
I feel
really
the same
solid
way.
logic. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so strange.
I still think it's good. It's one thing. I still think it's good, right? Like, once again, for 5 extra points, you can take a Dragon Lizard. I would even take a Dragon Lizard without Predator over
Spike Lizard with
Spike
Predator.
Lizard with Predator. Yeah. So I think it's unfortunately just been pushed out a bit by its bigger brother.
Sorry, Spike Lizard, you are staying at home. That rounds out the core units. So interesting. There's a lot to talk about there. When we're looking at the more specialist directed roles, there's actually fewer core units that are so inviting once you've had that sort of conversation. I think that you have got some well-rounded units there, but if we're looking at that better, more consistent list, really we're going to be looking for some extra support, and we're going to do that. Let's go have a look at the vehicles and monsters. They're not vehicles, they're all dinosaurs.
When have you ever seen a dinosaur with wheels? This could be your new bit, you know? Every time we come to a vehicle or monster section.
When have you ever seen a dinosaur with wheels? I mean, like, what are you talking about here? I'm a goblin from World of Warcraft. The Triceratops, 320 points, gets you a big stompy transport monster. Quality 4 defense 2+, the quality 4 is offset by this vehicle having fearless. It is a tough 12 model, which means that it's going to get its typical fear 2, which we love. It's got transport 11. The transport 11 is by virtue of it having the carrier platform, which is an upgrade that you can replace. So if you don't like your dinosaur with wheels having, 5 doors and space for the kids in the back, you can give it other things instead. Its melee profile is alright. We're at 10 attacks output on a tough 12 model here. There is better. It's got 6 attacks with rending and 4 attacks with AP1 and its stomp. The biggest thing that I'm missing here is this dear creature doesn't have predator.
Yeah, which is, I guess the Triceratops isn't a predator. is a good reason.
Fair enough. It's a
grass
herbivore, right?
And yeah, I believe so. Yeah. So that is a good reason. However, don't worry, because the September update is going to make this bitch eat meat. You know, why the fuck not? You know. I think. I think that the carrier platform replacements aren't very good. We'll keep the review going. Dave doesn't need to be in it. Yeah, they're not very good because I don't think they do enough. It is worth noting that when you give them the big boy upgrades, they go up to 12 attacks at range. Okay, he's just gone. He's just gone. I'm so sorry. You've watched this far into the video and this man can't even keep his composure, honestly.
You were saying about the big boy upgrades.
Yeah, so I was saying this bitch eat meat. But the transport thing you replace with a couple of different range options. I think the Gecko crew is not really worth it. I think I'd rather make use of the transport. I think it's a good transport. It's Def 2. It's got Tough 12, which is obviously very good. It's fearless. It's Fear 2, right? This is a thing you can show at the board. And you don't really care about it. Let things charge it, whatever. It looks like it should be a centerpiece, but it's not. It's only 320 points. Upgrading as a Gecko crew, I think is a misunderstanding of what its role is. Because realistically, you hit 3 attacks AP1. That's not great.
That quality
upgrading
with
really
the
Gecko crew plus the Caster 2.
The exciting thing is the Caster 2, right? This is a bit unique.
Yeah, I think if the crew wasn't there, then brilliant.
Good.
Right, yeah, the Caster 2 upgrade would be really nice. But unfortunately, because you're paying for the crew, it's not as good, right? Like, it's not the end of the world, right? But, like, Caster 2 is nice to have, right? Like, you know, round 1, do nothing with it. Round 2, two lots of 6 hits on a 3-up, right? All of a sudden, that's great value. So, you know, that's an okay upgrade. And then the last 2, I think, I mean,
quality
you're still
4.
Qual 4.
I know this one.
Yeah.
I know this one. That blast attack does not have reliable, and it does have indirect.
Yeah, so it's
A4 AP1 blast 3 is a good profile.
Yeah.
If it didn't have indirect, it would be better.
Yeah, I agree. I think indirect lets it down here. Obviously, it means that you can like double move at first turn and then start shooting everything on the board while not moving. But once again, not moving, it's not great. Yeah, I think once the thing has Predator, which it will do with the new update, if what we've heard is going to make it the way through to the beta and beyond, which I think it will do because I think it makes sense. It's a pre-existing mechanic. Then this obviously gets better, but it also gets more expensive. So I don't know. I think you're probably just like chasing something that's never going to happen. Same with the missile launcher. Obviously, lock-on is quite nice. Mm-hmm. When you're shooting 30 inches, this is basically supposed to be its anti-aircraft thing, I guess.
Yeah. Which
but the problem being, obviously,
quite well.
The aircraft thing. Well, you get like 2 hits, AP2, Deadly 3. Which
when
is
you're in 18
on
inches.
Average, hit half of them. So you hit half of those, so you've half killed an
aircraft.
aircraft.
Oh, no, it's not 18 inches, sorry, because of lock-on. Yeah, that's me being silly. Yeah, but still like Qual 4. But with Predator, you're right, this will get a nice little chip better. Interesting, so it's a good piece. The thing that I think is also quite interesting to talk about is that it's a tough 12 transport. Now, we've seen lots of tough 6 and a few tough 9s, but it being tough 12 means it's way more resilient.
Yeah, so I think this is basically the only way you're getting Saurian Guardians at the board. I think this was designed to have Saurian Guardians in it. Well, I don't mean that literally, but, you know, it looks like it could have been. You move 12 inches up the board, 2 units of Saurian Guardians inside. If something comes anywhere within 6 inches of this thing, you unload some Saurian Guardians on them and you start blasting. This thing can take a charge, no problem. It's got Fearless Qual 4, it's Def 2, Tough 12, la 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 la.
All these things that really heavily mitigate it being charged. Also, it's a Fear 2 vehicle transports. Transports usually, this is one of the issues with tanks. They don't have a way of offsetting a single dink in combat. This thing having Fear 2 does.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like this. I think it's great for its cost. It's not like going to change your life having it on the board, but it's going to be reliable. It's going to bait shots it probably shouldn't do because it's actually aggressively pretty weak. It's a Fear 2 machine, basically. And yeah, it's going to get the things you want to get up the board. So, I mean, hilariously enough, right?
Sorry, go on. We're both going to say something.
Well,
we both think we're hilarious.
We're
saying the same thing. Yeah. We're saying the same thing.
So you can
put a unit of 10 Guardians with a Frog-Mage.
No, I was going to say you can have 3 fucking Frog-Mages in this thing, right? Okay, you can
just fucking boring.
There's all the chill dudes all vibing together, right? And because they're all inside the same transport, they can all target each other with stuff, right? So
oh my God,
you just buff it with regen and the other 2 Frog-Mages, and you know, you just like 12 inch over the board, and all of a sudden all the vibe gangs start rolling out. Yeah, it could be good.
Just a load of meditating frogs on plinths.
Yeah.
Okay, I
the
like
frog
that.
clown
We
car.
both thought something was hilarious, which was putting a Frog-Mage in this, but in different constitutions.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious putting a Frog-Mage in a doubled up unit of Saurian Guardians in this, punting this thing 12 inches up the board, them 6 inches out, and having your caster 4 Frog-Mage throwing out 2 loads of 6 hits on a 4+, maybe shooting, whatever. You could get some other shooter units with it. And it's quite sticky. It's in the middle of the board, controlling a large amount of space. It's moved 18 inches in a single round, so it's got within range of that 12-inch 2 hits. 2 units within 12 6 hits thing. It's in that 24-inch range very easily. By 24 inches, I mean the design space for OPR. I think that's a good little strategy, but you're in a different barrel of fish to me, barrel of frogs on a Triceratops. You just want 3 Frog-Mages in this.
Yeah, and you know, it makes me wish that the list I was bringing to the list building was the triple Frog-Mages and the Triceratops, but
they don't know. They don't know what you're bringing yet. You can change your mind.
but I'm not going to cheat them out of what my original thought was.
Okay.
But yeah, so you know, if you're looking for a fun strategy, then bring Frog Gang. Frog Gang is at their Triceratops. They come cruising up. They
Triceratops.
Drift,
three horns, 3 frogs in the transport.
So deep.
Checkmate.
Yeah, don't take caster 4. Take caster 3. Take caster 3.
Sorted.
Remember, like, you have to 12-inch it up the board and turn it sideways so it comes to a drifting stop. Okay. Just like cruising.
This review went off the wheels. It's past 10 o'clock here. It's been a day of over 30-degree heat. It's Celsius, which is centigrade? Celsius? What? I don't even know. In the UK, it's too much. I'm losing my mind, and now we're talking about drifting a Triceratops with 3 Frog-Mages up board. We've done our valuable commentary on this thing. It's a tough 12 transport.
True, don't think Just Charge fans know to skip to the vehicle monster sections if they want to.
Where we start losing our minds.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's keep a bit more focused with one of my favourite ones that we can get out of this list. I do like the big dudes here, the Spinosaurus, and it's another one of these ones. Tough 12, Fear 2, Fearless, Quality 4, Defense 2. It's 325 points. This one's got Predator. It's got Spit Venom, 18-inch for A2, Blast 3, Poison, no reliable. And then it's got 10 attacks in melee, 4 of them AP1. This time it's A6 and Poison rather than A6 and Rending. And it's upgrades. The reason I like this piece is because this is another instance where you can get access to Primal Roar. And it's on a Tough 12 Defense 2 up model, so it will be around for a while. And then you can also give it Impact 3 for funsies. Like, it's alright. It's not the most glorious, insane piece in the world. It's not the Custodian Brothers Assault Walker, who's Tough 12 with a billion attacks. But it's good, and it synergizes well with the army because of Primal Roar.
Yeah, so another old fantasy Saurian win here. The fantasy Saurian version of this thing can get caster 2 as well.
Yeah.
Which I think really solidifies it as like a real utility all-rounder piece. Range blast, obviously it's not reliable, but it's still decent. It gives it something to do at range.
Predator as well.
But if it's got, it would Predator as well, yeah. If it's got caster in it, then that really, really adds to that. It makes it a buffing machine. You also have Primal Roar on top of that. I think Impact 3 is worth taking.
I think that's worth taking.
So you get this kind of like cool unit that does a bit of everything. Probably walks up the board 6 inches on the first turn, shoots some venom. Next turn tries to charge in. Yeah, I think overall this is a solid piece. I don't think it's activating any strategies that you can't activate in different ways.
Yeah.
I do like it as a Primal Roar stick.
Yeah.
Because I think the alternative for a Primal Roar stick is like a big vet guy, and I think that this is a cheaper version of that. You know, like it's basically 100 points cheaper.
Yeah.
So if you could take like one vet guy, one of these, and then you'd save a bit of points on your second one, and then you can do some stuff with that. But I think most of the time you take the vet guy. He's Qual 3.
Yeah, he's Qual 3
with more attacks and more defense and Def 2 and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
not
he's
a bad
bang
unit
for buck.
Yeah, I think more efficient, more rounded, and more of a cheaper option, I think, for the Primal Roar thing.
Yeah. Good. So the Spinosaurus is getting a bit of a thumbs up here. The Ankylosaurus. Ankylosaurus is how I say it in my mind. 105 points, so we're looking for something good here. It is a 4-2, Tough 12, Fearless, Fear 2. This one's got heavy shield. Now this is where we've got Def 2+ and heavy shield, so this is a sticky piece. It has 8 attacks in melee, so that's a bit of a letdown then here. 4 of them AP2, 4 of them AP1. We don't have the Predator, so maybe we're not such an output. It's got some guns. 24 inches, A2, AP4, Deadly. We've spoken about Deadly 6 before. It is the Deadly and the Blast weapons feel like they get worse the further up you go, but Deadly 6 is a slightly different breakpoint for that, which we'll come on to in a moment. You can replace that gun with A4, AP4, Blast 3, but again, then we're in the realms of quality 4 not reliable, and you can give it the beacon upgrade. Now, Ankylosaurus is again something that I don't think I've ever put in an army.
So I think this is actually better than it looks. Heavy shield, def 2, fear 2, fearless. That stat block together makes for a really, really reliable objective taker. It's on a thick boy base, so it can contest 2 objectives at the same time if you want to. The range stuff about it, I think because you're using this as an objective piece, you don't actually need to be moving up the board that quick with it, as long as you're 6-inching forward each turn to make the most of it. I actually think the base twin fusion cannon is not bad, because I don't think it's amazing, but it really threatens very specific things like APCs and stuff, APCs and light walkers, in a way that makes them really, really scared of the thing you're definitely putting in the middle of the board, right? You basically have like, kind of 48 inches around this thing where you're saying, if you come within range, you bet your ass I'm shooting you, right? You bet your ass I'm going for that value. I'm qual 4, so I could just fucking miss. I don't give a shit, right? Because you're never coming within range of that, because you know that you could just get deleted by it. So I think that's okay. The heavy plasma burster, I actually think is okay as well. Think about this, right? I think because it's such an objective piece, it's so hard to shift that once you get onto the objectives, like having some range stuff to be doing is not bad. Instead of just like dawdling around with your melee stuff, because what you don't actually want to do is exhaust this thing. You want to let your opponent take that, right? You want to shoot.
Okay, yeah.
And then your opponent then has to charge in, knowing that they're not going to do much damage unless they have very specific weaponry, and knowing that you haven't exhausted yourself, so that they're actually going to properly lose combat, right? Because 4 attacks AP2, 4 attacks AP1, decent, fear 2. So this becomes quite a nice like centerpiece unit. If you add on top of that like stuff like buffing it with regen and stuff, it's never moving. Beacon is a waste of time on it. I don't like once, like I said, like there is an ambush in this list. So the specific ambush stuff you have is probably not worth spending beacon on because you can't combine them properly. But I think the Ankylosaurus is better than it looks. But I don't think it's amazing, right? Like I think, for the points cost.
You made a really strong case for it.
Yeah, and I think if the opponent let you do it, then yeah, like, if you get a triangle going and you can smack this thing in the middle of it, then yeah, right? It's going to hold those points for sure. You just need enough stuff in the rest of your army, because you're a quarter of an army down now, to be able to clear out enough of their units such that your 500-point thing is doing something.
Yeah.
Because this is, once again, a thing you can ignore. It's not as ignorable as the melee-only walkers, right? The big, enormous monster thing that dawdles around at 12 inches a turn. Like the Saurian Vet in this list, right? Easy to ignore. This thing, you can ignore it, but it will kill anything you've got tough 6. Or your tough 3 stuff, right? It will just like slowly accrue some value, even if it's not going to pay for itself every time. So it's more threatening because of that. But yeah, I mean, am I taking this over a Triceratops and going for like Triceratops plus units inside it? Because that's basically what you're costing against this, right? Like Triceratops plus unit of Saurian Guardians.
Yeah.
You come to the same cost then. I don't know. I put one of these in the list. Yeah,
oh, okay.
Yeah. I think I would put one of these lists. I think the AP4 is quite rare in this list. You basically have like geckos who have like piddly,
the pistols,
like not much.
The Qual 5 AP,
and then you have
A1 ones.
Then you have this, which provides like the I'm going to kill all your Def 6 stuff, and maybe even your tanks, right? Like if you get unlucky, just roll two like 25% chance.
This thing comes in,
2 of those.
Right? Yeah.
It could just kill something big, right? So I think this can do. I think the threat of this is greater than the actual threat it presents. But yeah, I would be surprised if you left a whole day of games and went like the Ankylosaurus just didn't quite do it, because I think
okay, so you think it's
heavy shield.
You think it's on that better side then?
I think it just always wins melee combat is the truth, right? I think heavy shield plus def 2, fear 2, and some decent weapon profiles means it's like against like 95% of units in the game, it's winning melee. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. The Ankylosaurus. there's a good conversation to have about that one because it makes it seem better than it looks. Good. Onto this, I can't remember how you described it, but the 12-inch fatty, the Dread Titan. Harvey is not a fan of this one because he managed to thrash it in an event. It is a 690 point Titan model, quality 2, defense 2. There's There's 2 units with quality 2 in this list, which I overlooked in previous read-throughs. It's tough 18, so it's got fear 3. It has got 10 attacks, but some of them are really heavily loaded. 6 attacks AP 2, and it's got 4 attacks AP 4, deadly 3. My biggest issues with this thing: no Fearless and no Predator. Where's Predator? This thing, it's a Dread Titan. How would this thing not be a Predator? Hopefully it gets it with the changes we expect in the update. Now, what can you upgrade it with? One of 3 options. The cheapest one is 535 points, where you give it 18 inches of A8 AP1 Blast 3 Reliable. Really good profile there. That's why it's expensive. And for some reason it gets tough 6 as well. Or you can give it 24 inches A4, AP4 Deadly 6, and tough 6. Don't know why that's bolted on again. For 920 points. So this is getting silly here. Or you give it 2 guns. One of them's a 36-inch A2 AP3 Deadly 6 gun. One of them's a 24-inch A4 AP1 Blast 3 Womp Womp Indirect No Reliable gun. And then it also gets Primal Roar, which, you know, a bit of a nombo because it doesn't have Predator, and Tough 6 for 945 points. Now, we like having a bit of a joke about some of the Titans. We were fairly critical of the Alien Hive's Titans. What do you think about this one? I know that you think it's too fat for its own good.
Yeah, base profile, probably no good. If your opponent is putting the stuff that you want that wants to kill in front of it, then I mean, why are you doing that, right? This thing's very easy to ignore.
This thing gets blocked
fast enough
by a 60-point unit of 3 Cyber Lizards.
Yeah. So, yeah. And the no Fearless thing is actually relevant as well, right? Like, not always relevant. It's very rarely going to lose combat. But when we went to this event in Bristol, one of the random effects was, like, every round you roll the dice to see what effect affected all the objectives. And the one we got was morale checks for everyone on an objective, and he rolled a dice and it bounced out the box and rolled a 1. And he looked at me because we hadn't talked about where dice need to be rolled, and I went, "You can re-roll it." And he was like, and it would have been like the most disappointing, like it would have been the end of the game, right? 700 point unit, just that's it, right? Like, you've wasted a turn, like, the game is done. Oh, so base profile, whatever, really. Like, you obviously have advanced tactics in this list, so you can get this thing in places.
Yeah, fair.
Like, I just think that, like, the massive stack of deadly is, I mean, it's qual 2, right? You're hitting every single one of those attacks, and that is still therefore AP4. But I would rather see it just no deadly there. I don't think deadly is required at this point, right? Like, it's like if it was just like
a
yeah, like you would be like,
wait, 16? No, A12. Wait, what am I doing here? 4 3s. 4 3s are 12. Why can't I do maths today? That's the 3rd off-the-cuff maths that I've failed. Well done. If a 12 attacks AP4 plus the 6 attacks AP2, then we're pretty happy. That's still Balval of 100% wound to damage ratio.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of slaps though. So the Scorcher upgrade, I mean, what, like, Reliable's doing what here? Has qual 2.
I'd overlooked that.
Yeah, but A8 AP1 Blast 3 is overkill, right?
Don't know what you're talking about, mate.
In the Knights list I run, I have double stacked veterans with flamers. That's 6 AP1 Blast 3 attacks, reliable, right? That damn well kills basically anything it wants, and it is a lot cheaper than the, what is it, 1300 point unit you get out of this, right? This is a 1300 point unit that can target 1 unit a round.
1225, I want to say.
1225? Yeah, I buy that, yeah. Sorry, 1225, 25 point unit. That is affecting one unit per round, right? And the thing about Blast is, if your opponent is massively overspent on a Titan, you're probably not targeting your Blast with it, right? So is it much better than its base profile against the things you're trying to kill at this kind of ridiculous point range? Probably not. The next upgrade, the mad deadly thing, is kind of the same as what I was saying for the Scorcher thing. Like, yes, that will delete things. And I like it a bit more because it'll delete the kind of things that they will have spent a lot of points on. Because realistically, you're hitting all 4 of those.
If you're playing 4,000
24 points of something gone.
Right, yeah, if you're playing 4k points and someone's bringing Titans, this thing will eat them.
Yeah, this is a Titan deleter. And then the last one, I think it's actually it's way more well-rounded, right? Like, you can affect 2 units at once because you've got 2 different range profiles, which makes it a lot more appealing. Primal Roar makes it a nice utility piece. Indirect matters a little bit less because you're going from qual 2 to qual 3.
Yeah, that's good. A fair point here.
It does the same thing the Ankylosaurus does. It walks forwards with def 2, tough 24 this time, and says just fucking charge me if you want. So yeah, I think the T-Rex is probably the best upgrade. The Behemoth is good if they have Titans. If they don't have Titans, you're extremely sad. And the Scorcher is a bit doo-doo. But we're talking a level of points here that's just insane.
1635 if you're a T-Rex Dread Titan.
Like, I think the thing that disappoints me about the Saurians, right, Cybersaurians, is what is Saurians to me? It's like little geckos, it's like lizardmen, it's like whatever they're called, the slightly bigger ones. What are they called? Gators. Gators. Yeah, Gators. And then it's like, then bigger dinos and bigger dinos and bigger dinos, right? And there's effectively 4 models here, 4 different Titan models, right, in this one unit. And there's only 3 smaller dinosaurs in this list, right? Most people aren't running Titans, right? Give us some cool, bigger monsters, right? This has got its own model range. It's got its own OPR model range. Think of the cool 200 to 400 point units we've got. This list is missing like a tough 9, right? Dinosaur,
it's missing.
Right?
So this is what I was thinking.
It's missing
Right?
dinos.
I would love there to be. I'd love for the Gator Veteran to be a tough 9 unit.
Yeah,
that's what I want. The Master Destroyer from the Custodian Brothers is one of my favourite units in the game, one of my favourite armies, if not my favourite army in the game. It's tough 9, and the weight that thing pulls at just that really nice bracket is so good. Take another example is in the Havoc Brothers fantasy list where you get one of the heroes and you stick it on a Manticore, it's tough 9. Vampiric Undead have got the Ghoul Rider dude. Tough 9's a really sweet point. Why can't the Gator Veteran be tough 9 and then have just something maybe a bit more exciting going for him there? I mean, I think actually just a tough 9 guy with Primal Roar would be cool. Then I want to see a Super Gator. I want to see Gecko, Saurian, Gator Hero, bipedal dinosaur tough 12 walker thing. That would just be hilarious. The fact that the tough 12 guys, just from my perspective, if you think I like tough 3 models and units, I love a tough 12. I love a tough 12 walker that gets like 14 or 16 attacks. For example, the Human Defense Force one is a great one. And we haven't got that here, and just the Timmy inside of me just misses it. That's where I am, I think.
Yeah. We don't even have the upgraded one T-Rex thing there, right? That's the Titan-sized T-Rex. We don't have like a normal, like...
Yeah,
whatever the leader is mounted on.
We have a Tyrannosaur.
Yeah, Tyrannosaur. Yeah. We don't have like a Tyrannosaur.
It'd be cool if there was a Tyrannosaur, yeah.
I think like of all the places to go crazy, like there's a lot of dinosaurs you can pick from. Like a lot of dinosaurs. Give us some of them, right? Like make some more models for this stuff, right? Like people love their Saurians. Give us more cool dinosaurs. I think there's real scope for more interesting monster section. And I think, like, I don't know the statistics on this, but I think most people aren't playing with Titans, right?
Yeah.
I feel like you tend to get basically a sack of meat when you go with a Titan. They don't do more interesting things. They just have more tough. So yeah, I'd like to see more stuff elsewhere, I guess, right? You know? I think it's probably true across most OPR factions as well, to be clear. Like, I think most of the time I'd rather see the Titans. I'd like to see normal versions of the Titan, what the Titans are offering as well. Just like bring the toughness down. Like, give us like a dragon lizard, like that Scorcher thing. Give us something like that. A big boy that does the flamer thing that's bigger than a dragon lizard. And let's have like a cool like dragon lizard-y thing you can do. You can have like one big one, 2 small ones and stuff like that. Instead of being like, okay, well, if you want more dragon lizard type stuff, you better be willing to chalk up whatever you said before, 12, 2, 2, 5, or whatever it was, for it.
Oddly enough, if you haven't followed our slow descent into madness on this very warm summer's evening, Harvey is expressing his dear love of lizard-based miniatures, and he wants more lizard-based miniatures. If you have any cool STLs, join the Discord. Let us see what you think are going to be cool dragon-based lizards, because I think everyone, we need to get together and get Harvey some lizard minis. That's what I wanted, a Saurian's army. I think Harvey wants a Saurian's army.
If you could paint them for me as well, that'd be great. Every bit of knowledge I have about this game, I lose ability to paint miniatures.
Excellent.
It just gets shoved right out of my brain.
Last of all, we've got a narrative hero. I like the little narrative heroes that you get throughout OPR. They're really cool. This is Tehaxi, 120 points for a quality 5, defense 5. So this is I haven't actually looked at the model for this one. I presume that this is a gecko.
This is a gecko caster on the little seat.
Oh, I do know what this model is. Cool, okay. Yes, so 120 points for a 5/5. Fearless, hero, strider. This one's tough 6. Oh, because it's riding the palanquin already. It's only got 3 attacks in melee. That's a shame, but it's caster 2. And then channel flames. Once per this model's activation before attacking, roll a die. On a 2+, one enemy unit within 6 inches in line of sight takes hits. With blast, 3 and AP 1. So this is a fire-breathing gecko. That's the fire-breathing effect you see on some dragons.
This is a fire-breathing gecko.
This is kind of cute. I see why it's tough 6, because a Gecko Champion on a palanquin is tough 6. If it didn't have that, I think I'd be happier. But yeah, cool. This is a really nice use of unique heroes in OPR. It's a Gecko Champion with a little something extra because he can breathe fire. He's a caster, and he's unique. Like, just cute. Really sweet. I like that one, Tehaxi. I really need to sit down and actually read through all of the OPR lore that I've got in all of the mission books and everything, because I'm so far behind on my reading for them. So Tehaxi, and as well as Secrets of Tashol, I bet, for this one. So it's over a year old. Bad Dave. Very bad Dave. Tehaxi's cute.
Yeah, I think we'll show more interest. Yeah, we'll show more interest in the unique heroes once there's more of them in the game, I think, once we start to see them being used in tournaments a bit more. I think there's no reason for them not to be used in tournaments right now. I think some of them are stronger than other ones. You know, like the dwarves get a guy who gives things tunneler.
Yeah.
These guys get one that gives...
The Alien Hives one that we mentioned last time.
The Alien Hives one, yeah, that's very good. I think we've mentioned this before, but I would like to see the unique heroes do more unique stuff, right? I think one of the things that I really enjoyed about Warhammer back in the day was like getting Lord Croak, right? Who could like cast whatever it was called, like Earthquake or whatever. Like he had his own collection of spells and stuff, and like he just like was a badass with all his cool extra rules, and he was like, you know, the epitome of the Frog-Mage. Mm-hmm. Whereas with Tehaxi, it doesn't feel like the epitome of the Gecko Mages, right?
Yeah,
I'd like to see like more powerful kind of narrative-based heroes coming out of this.
See, now this is an interesting conversation to have, because I like that OPR is more of a unit-based game. I agree with you to a point, but I don't want it to go as far as it can do in other tabletop war games and in other games where it becomes Hero Hammer, for example.
Sure, yeah.
But I'm a hypocrite for saying that, because I freaking love the Master Destroyer. I love a hero on a dragon mount. I love a tough 12 hero. I love the Hive Lord. I love these sexy hero pieces. And so it's that kind of hard point of going, I really agree with you, but there's something in me that wants to disagree and pump the brakes a little bit. But yes, I think that it's cute we've got a fire-breathing gecko. I'd like to see him do a little bit more. It'd be interesting. I like what you're saying about the unique spell lore idea. It would be more bookkeeping, but if you had unique heroes that had access to their own schools of spells, that'd be fun. There you go. Nice little idea. Nice little idea. And there we are, reaching the bottom of the Saurian Starhost. Now, Harvey, for those who were playing along at home, and for all of you, yes, all of you who did comment, right? What's your favourite unit in the roster?
Yeah, this is your last chance to comment.
Do it now.
Your last chance.
Pause the video. Welcome back. I'm glad you commented.
My top 3 units. Okay. It's definitely between the Frog-Mage, just because I think he's sweet.
Yeah.
The Raptor Riders, because I think they're some of probably the best cavalry kicking around. I think the Lancers on them are great. I think they don't need impact because of it. I think Devour, Fast, Fearless, Predator, Death 3, right, makes for a really quality unit. But I have to say, I think the Chameleons are my win here. I think for what I mentioned before, they're just so flexible. They just do stuff. They're cheap. I feel a lot more comfortable spending the points on them because of the 18-inch range. 2 attacks each, good shot. Yeah, it all just lines up, especially with the way I like to play. So I think Chameleons are my pick for my favorite unit in the army, and I think also I'm rating those on effectiveness there. The Frog-Mage is, I'd say, is effective, but he's not as effective, I don't think, as some other options. So yeah, what's your top 3 then? I guess if you've got it, if not, just a top 1.
My top 3 are the Frog-Mage. So here's the thing. I was saying I don't want OPR to become Hero Hammer, but I love playing OPR Hero Hammer. I love the Frog-Mage. He's great. Caster 4. I don't know. The spell casting fantasy for me is just one of the reasons to play tabletop war games. This is moving away so much from the competitive focus and now going into the why I like to play. And it is a long-standing point of mine that I just would like OPR casting to be something a little bit more. For anyone who's interested, I like the idea of it being a 2d6 7+ system rather than the 1d6 4+ that it is now. Just something more to make it a bit more special. That being said, even within the current scope of OPR casting, Caster 4 is unique, it's exciting, it's fun. I don't know how many Caster 4 options there are in OPR. There's not many. You've got this Frog-Mage, you've got the Frog-Mage in Fantasy, you've got the Robot Lord's Pylon dude. Oh no, he's Caster... The Prison Monolith, is it? Isn't he like Caster 6 though?
Or maybe he's Caster 6, yeah.
He's something insane.
There's the demons as well, I think, right?
The demons avatars are Caster 4.
Right, they're really big ones.
Yeah, the ones that are 3,000 points plus. I want to say there's one more, but I can't remember. But those are really exciting, right? And this is access to Caster 4, because those other ones are inaccessible in 2,000 points games with Force Org. This is accessible, it's unique, it's exciting, it's flavoursome, it's literally a Frog-Mage. The lore behind these guys is like insane. Just go read it, it's good fun. They used to be friends with the elves, I like it. And so the Frog-Mage is exciting for that reason. The Saurian Veteran... Oh, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, like, I would love to see Caster 4 become its own thing. I know I mentioned before about getting double tokens and stuff, but where you see this Caster 1 upgrade, I'd rather see, like, replace Caster 3 with, like, Master Caster or something, right? And it became a bit more than just, like... Yeah, so it could be, like... This model counts as having Caster 4 plus this, plus this, plus this, right? Like, really sell this kind of powerful casting thing. Like, even if it was just, like, your count as Caster 4 and you get +1 to succeed on spells, that would really sell it as, like, you're casting with this thing, right? This is what... I don't care how expensive that gets, really. I think it would be cool to be like, these things get access to the ultra powerful casters. Because right now it's like, yeah, you get 1 extra token, which is like +1. You cast spells, but wasting tokens from turn to turn really stings. So
this review's gone a little bit off of our usual beat of focusing on the competitive event side of things. We're kind of just in the rule of cool territory here, I think. You know, I don't care about how expensive it is, I want cool. But yeah, and the Frog-Mage is currently quite cool, so he's there for me in the top 3. The Saurian Veteran on Tyrannosaur, I love it. I have been thumped by it. I mentioned that game at Bristol a couple of events ago now, as it is. My opponent had 2 of these guys on T-Rexes with Pack Hunter pushing each other up. That was sick. It was cool. It was terrifying. It was great tech. And I lost the game, and it was just like, holy cow, that was a cool way. That's a cool thing to lose to, along with the ambush and teleport geckos. So the Saurian Veteran on Tyrannosaur is a really high up there one for me. Primal Roar, I can't say it enough. I love that it combos in with the rest of the army special rule, and seeing it on a hero model really drives that home for me. And then my third favourite is going to be... It's tough between these 3, the Gators, the Swarms, and the Dragon Lizard. It's going to be the Gators. I just love big crocs with clubs. They're cool. The minis for these are sick as well. Oh yeah, we haven't even spoken about Broken Truth at all. The upcoming OPR box set that's got these guys in it. Yeah. Gators are cool. As for my top 1, if I was forced to pick one, I'd pick the Frog-Mage.
Yep, fair enough. Worst one? Mine, I mean, we're not going to do a bottom 3. Mine are just the Gecko Snipers.
They're just the Gecko Snipers. Sorry, Gecko Snipers. For me, it's the Dactyl Riders. We spoke a lot about them. I think Beta's cool, but you're absolutely right. Something I had overlooked before is the whole when it's deployed thing being a real crapper for when you want to deploy this unit early. This Impact 2 split with 2 attacks just makes me feel uncomfortable. I've not played enough with it, I admit that, but it does make me feel uncomfortable. But the gun upgrades suck. What it can do is taunt you with how good it could be. That's kind of why I think I don't like it so much. So there we go. Those are the units that we love and do not love. Rounding out the army list review, we're going to move on now to the bit that we do always at this point. We're going to give you at least 2 lists to play in your 2,000-point games. For the first one is going to be an all-comers, well-rounded list, and the second one something spicy, prepared by Harvey. So the rounded list. Where would you like to start? I think I know where you'd like to start. I think it's this unit here.
You'd be right. I think what would make for a good rounded playstyle, though, with some nice synergy, would actually be the Predator list.
Okay.
And that's not to say we can't have my Chameleons, but I think perhaps we should pick up some Primal Roar to start off with, because I think that is a really nice, well-rounded list by default, and there's enough interesting options in it to get it going. So I'll let you pick. You can either have a Spinosaurus or you can have Saurian Veteran.
That is exactly the conversation I was about to start, and this is the point that I want to make about the Gator Veteran, which is now we're actually at the list building stage. I don't think he's going to make it. I don't think he's going to be in our list at all, because for what we want, which is either Deep Strike or Primal Roar, there are better things. You can have him being this AP1 in melee kind of guy with someone else being your Primal Roar carrying stick. But I don't think it's good enough compared to what else you could do for cheaper in the army.
Yeah, I think the Gator Veteran has a space in a Predator list where you're going like all Predator, because he's the cheapest way of getting it, and if you want to spread it quickly across your whole army, then you need lots of cheap guys.
Yeah, that is a good point.
But we're not going to do we're not doing everything that's got Predator list. We're just doing some Primal War stuff. So I think, yeah.
So I haven't answered your question if it's going to be the Veteran or the Ankylosaurus. Do I mean the Ankylosaurus? I mean the Spinosaurus. This is the tension that I have in nearly every Saurian Starhost list. I want this to be the Saurian Veteran on Tyrannosaurus. Or Tyrannosaurus, sorry. That's what I want. I want it to be this model here. But the next thing I'm then going to talk to you about will be the Frog-Mage. And at that point, we've got some really expensive things going on, and I want probably one more expensive thing in the army, and I think it just puts too much pressure on the list. So for now, I'm going to say the Spinosaurus with Primal Roar and Chief Rider. But my soul wants it to be the Saurian Veteran.
I think that's probably the right decision there. At least early on, if we have the points available, we can always upgrade to the Saurian Vet. I think the thing we're missing out on here is advanced tactics, so we just need to be conscious of that as we head forward with the rest of the list building. But if you are looking for the Frog-Mage, I think perhaps the Saurian Veteran plus the Spinosaur, it does become too expensive at that point. It's a lot of points to be spending. Yeah, so I think if we're having the Frog-Mage, then we're having the Frog-Mage, right? If we've gone the Spinosaur and we wanted it because the Frog-Mage, then we put the Frog-Mage in. I think, Caster 4 is the right move. We then either have the Heavy Shield or we have the Swarms. I think I prefer the Swarms. The Swarms are basically a secret upgrade for the Frog-Mage. And I think I think so as well. I think the synergy between them is too strong, right? Like the Fearless thing. Though I do think it's a lot better when doubled up, but I think we can leave it single for now. Yeah. So from here, I think we need to start bulking out our Primal Roar options.
Yes.
We've obviously gone Primal Roar. I think both Gators and Saurian Warriors are really good users of Primal Roar. Obviously, you're not always going to be using them, but I think it's good to have the options. Very easy late game to not have any Primal Roar targets as things start to die. But I think Saurian Warriors are decent. I think the Gators are decent as well. So where are we up to? We're up to 1,100 points here. I think if we're going for our usual, let's try not to double up units too soon, to give someone a list that they could go run at a tournament, but they get to try out lots of different things. There's 2 units here that stand out as missing to me. One is the Raptor Riders and one is the Dragon Lizard. Yeah,
I'm with you there. Are we going Lancers on these Raptor Riders?
I think so, yeah.
Good. And then the Dragon Lizard, the 165-point unit. I definitely agree with where we're going. What's really nice is that this is 1430 points. This is a list I should have taken to UKGA. This is still only not even 3/4 of our maximum points allocation. So we get to now venture into the silly fun area. Not too silly, we still want it to be good.
Yeah.
I'm wondering now at this point of really pushing the envelope where we're going.
What are your thoughts? Because the places I see this going is I kind of see we could go for a Triceratops with some stuff inside it. I think we could go and add a Saurian Veteran to that, veteran to that unit of Raptor Riders. And then I can see
okay.
us like doubling up on some stuff. Maybe some more, not doubling up, but like more units. Like I can see maybe more Saurian Warriors, maybe more Gators.
So
I wanted to kind of go that route.
I kind of want to push another unit of Chameleons here. And I know it's not in the Predator spirit, but double Chameleons is just so good in terms of what you've got for a delayed deployment pressure of flank. So I do want to do that. Then from here, where do we want to go? The unit of Saurian Guardians feels a bit meh. I kind of want to see if we can find a way of getting advanced tactics in. And I don't think it's the Saurian Veteran in the Raptor Riders unit is the problem, because that unit does disintegrate.
Yeah, that's fair. I think realistically it's going to disintegrate anyway. I don't think we can afford a Tyrannosaurus with it at this point. But what you could do is you could now upgrade the Spinosaur if you really wanted to. It would be going quite elite at that point, but I think if we filled it out with chaff after that, it would be okay.
Upgrade the Spinosaur? Do you mean replace the Spinosaur with the Veteran?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. That I'm on board with. And we get the cool thing, so we'll give it Lance, we'll give it
what he wants
Hunter.
in the end. Very happy man.
Very nice. And we've got 2 Chameleons, so you're happy too. At this point then,
and then
we're at 8
then
units.
I think it's either the Gators or Warriors, maybe.
For doubling up or adding another?
Adding another, I think. I don't think we need to double up. I don't hate a Gator double up, but yeah.
I don't hate a Gator double up. I am with you on that, but I don't think I want to do it. I think what I'd like to do is put the Veteran into the unit of Raptor Riders, as you've said. If we give them Devour and Lance, was it giving them AP +1 in melee? Is that what you've been doing? Or just leaving it like that?
Well, you can. I think leave it like that, or go Pack Hunter. I think either of them is fine.
Okay. I think I'm keener on the Pack Hunter approach.
I think you can never really get too much. Yeah. You can never get too much. Advanced tactics,
so good.
Really. It's just a great mechanic, isn't it?
And then, because of where we are, it's a near perfect slot in to have the unit of Gators. And then we've got this 10-point upgrade. So with the 10 points, what are we looking at here? We can make the 2 Veterans have Power Claws instead, which I don't think we are going to be doing here. We've had so many cute little upgrades throughout the day to talk about. We could have the Magic Shock. Is there anything that's screaming out to you?
So we've got 10 points left. There's never normally like... the list is a bit thin for interesting things to do for 10 points, I think. We haven't got Predator on our Dragon Lizard. Oh no, we do have Predator on. I take back. Okay,
Of course we do.
that's fine. I think one thing we could do that would be interesting is just like 1 times long range pod upgrades for both Gators. Yeah, both missile pods on the Gators. I think having just one of those is useful. It lets them do something when they otherwise couldn't do something.
Okay.
And it's only 5 points, and that's like the ability to do something where you can't do something is quite a lot of utility. So yeah, happy with that.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. That does seem like a well-rounded list. And I think we managed to get through that quite quickly, but I do think that for all of the things going for the Saurian list building with them is quite hard. It's quite easy to accidentally have little synergy in the list. It's quite easy to just have a skew list in way of huge fatties that maybe don't actually do all that much, can't play the objective game too well. So this one, with a bit more thought applied to it, I think this is a nice little rounded list, and we hope you do too. Keen to know what your variants are. But now, the moment you've all been waiting for, let's have Harvey's absolutely bonkers, balmy, ridiculous list. All right, so here's Harvey's blue pizza presentation. Here's one he made earlier. Harvey, talk me through your spicy, Saurian Starhost list.
Yeah, so this is basically capitalizing on the fact that Frog-Mages inside Cyber Swarms is a really nice combo, and that the spell list is really good. So we straight up have 3 Frog-Mages in double-stacked Cyber Swarms. This is an unholy amount of wounds stacked around a cast of 4. And what that spell is really good at doing is killing things with high defense. So already those 3 Frog-Mages can probably carry you through most games against more chaffy armies. Now, against really big, hard-hitting stuff, that's where we'll start to struggle. Now, Gecko Cohorts aren't solving that problem. But what Gecko Cohorts are is really just efficient point cost, right? They're def 4, you get 10 of them. They've got AP4 on their attack, on their range attack, so they can put holes in things. And that, combined with the Frog-Mage's ability to do 2 hits AP4, means that you can start to threaten these bigger targets. The kind of like the Def 2, Tough 9, 12, 6s kind of region. You can actually push those things off the board. And then I had a couple of points spare left over, so I went for a Assault Bombs Gecko Champion. We talked about this in the video before. This thing is fast. It has teleport. Assault Bombs means that it can fly over things and blow them up if it wants to. It's got impact to kind of lay into that kind of surprise attack thing, coming in with lots of hits. And then it has caster 2 as well to support your other casters. But also act as a really far, like, deep dive caster unit, because it can appear out of nowhere with enough tokens to cast a high level spell and get fed tokens by the Frog-Mage. So it's kind of like a tactical nuke, really, of 2 hits, 2 sets of 6 hits. Yeah, and then finally, to round off the list, we had just enough points for everyone's favorite Dragon Lizard, which I think it might be a bit overkill, really, because we already have so much spread damage. But I think Dragon Lizard is just great, really, right? This list will do really well against stuff that is spamming lots of...
I was going to say, this is a real chaff destroyer, right?
This is a real chaff destroyer list, but I don't think you should underestimate its ability to deal with even more elite stuff like Battle Brothers. I think this could walk up to Battle Brothers and do a lot. It takes like Battle Brothers are low output. It's going to take them forever to chew through the cyber swarms, like literally forever, right? It's 24 wounds on each of those, right?
Yeah.
And sure, it's Def 6 until the end, but it's also Qual 2 Fearless, right, until the end, right? So it's never leaving the board.
But the
and
chances
that's
of
without
that
including the regen stacking.
Yeah,
so
as well. Oof.
They just have endless amounts of regen coming out of this as well. So that triple Frog-Mage, triple Cyber Swarms doubled up thing is like a huge pillar that's so incredibly hard to move. And you know what? It can melee charge things as well. As I mentioned before, Magic Shock plus a million Cyber Swarm attacks with poison can win melee against chaff. So you can even do that as well if you want. You could be charging things with it. So overall, I mean, this isn't the most perfectly refined list. I did play around with the idea of having teleport packs on the Gecko cohorts, which may ultimately be better because it plays a bit more of a objective game. But I think these Frog-Mage stacks are so hard to move that you can probably end up playing a pretty safe across-the-board objective style with this anyway, because each one of those pillars requires real investment to move. And if they're playing a full shooting army, then I don't think they're going to be able to really punch through that amount of wounds that easily. So yeah, this is my silly Frog-Mage gang thing, which, you know, as mentioned in the video, I kind of wish I'd done a thing with the Triceratops and Frog Gang, but I think this probably is a better version of that list anyway. As funny as it is having 3 Frog-Mages coming out of 1 transport, this is a lot safer. But yeah, so this is my presentation. This is taking advantage of Caster 4, getting as much cast as you can on the list, and yeah, that Cyber Swarm Frog-Mage combo.
Very good. Yeah, that whole stack having... You have to do 12 wounds to it. Oh no, 12 wounds to it to start to get it into melee checks, morale checks, with shooting. And then to get it close to wiping out, you have to do a similar amount. And 12 damage is a lot. That is a lot of hits to get through when you're saving 1 in 6. And ignoring AP, and then you can get regen as well. These can be quite deceptively tanky. So very good, yeah. And a good use of improving the quality of a unit for morale checks through embedding a hero. So there we go. There you have it, folks. There is our Saurian Starhost review for you. Thank you very much for sticking with us through another long video. If you are here, please do give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the video. Join us at Discord. And until next time, I've been Dave. He's been Harvey. This is Don't Think, Just Charge. And we'll see you later.